Hello, Twitch.
Well, they just said no sound, so that means they weren't hearing the commercials. That's why.
They can only hear our network commercials.
Gotcha.
We're on in 20 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Welcome back, David.
Nice to be back. It is. And I mean that. It's just nicer. Although I get to sleep in later on the road.
Exactly.
Than when, I'm quote unquote home. But it's still nice. Just to be with you.
And I didn't think you cared.
So Judge hit 60.
Yes, he did.
Crazy ninth inning, by the way. Man, oh man. I mean, you could even tell he celebrated it, but he wasn't going crazy. Everybody around him was going crazy, but he wasn't going crazy because when he homered, when he stepped into the box, they were down 4. When he crossed home plate, they were down 3. It's the bottom of the ninth inning. I mean, they're going to lose. He was like, he looked to me anyway like a guy, it's kind of a big deal, but we're losing.
He has maintained this throughout. Remember that home run? I'm going to remember we lost that game. Was it 50 that they lost? I think it was when he hit. What do you remember? I'm going to remember that we lost 4-3 or whatever it was. This is the first words out of his mouth, and he's been incredibly consistent with that throughout. That it's a team thing.
But then, 4 batters later,
right?
Stanton hits a slam, and it's a walk-off. It's a 9-8 win, and now I can celebrate this thing.
Yep.
So, did you hear what happened with the home run ball? It's the 60th. There haven't been a lot of guys that hit 60. It's a big deal in New York.
It is.
He's a Yankee. Who hit 60? Ruth, a Yankee. Who hit 61? Maris, a Yankee. This is the American League record. And also, come on, let's face it. What is everyone also implying? All right, this is the legitimate home run record because everybody else who hit more than 61 was dirty. So that's also what they're implying in New York.
Definitely in New York.
All right. So it's a really big deal. And obviously he's the most popular guy on the team, and he's an impending free agent, and they desperately want him back. So the fans are giving an outpouring and what have you. So, and Felipe, normally we don't, go to you minutes into the show. But the reason that I just want you to chime in here is basically Felipe caught the home run ball. All right. Now, Felipe graduated from college a few months ago, and he's 22 years old. But a 20-year-old college student decided last minute with 3 of his buddies, hey, let's go to the Yankee game. And there were over 40,000 there on a Tuesday night. So the only seats that were available were out in the left field, beyond the bullpens. I mean, you're 130 plus yards away from home plate. And sure enough, Judge hits one by 430 feet, and boom, there it is. Well, what do you do with the ball? Felipe,
All right.
You and 3 of your buddies. Remember, and by the way, the kid's from the New York metropolitan area. He goes to the game in a Yankees jersey.
He's a fan.
Right. He's a Yankee
This is you.
fan.
This is you catching a tipped foul ball. Or I'm sorry, this is you catching a missed long three-pointer full court shot that goes over the backboard into the second row, and you catch the basketball.
Right. They celebrate the championship.
At a Heat. Right.
Exactly. The Heat win the title. They throw the ball up in the air. You have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So whatever team it is in Miami that means the most to you, the whole deal. And so there you are.
But this is Aaron Judge's 60th home run. This is Babe Ruth we're talking about.
Right,
He's tying Babe Ruth.
Exactly. And
But
so
I think I'm keeping it because he's not breaking any records.
so now remember, within 30 seconds of you grabbing the ball, and first off, everybody jumps on you and what have you. The kid apparently was able to grab the ball and like get out, and a mosh pit ensues, but he gets out of it quickly. He said, I was lucky. I got out the side. Okay. Within 30 seconds, Yankee security is right in your grill, Felipe, because they want the ball. I'm just saying, you've got the ball. You're a 20-year-old college student. You're there, your buddies. You're wearing your Yankees jersey. You've got Aaron Judge's 60th home run ball. All right. You avoid the pile. You go, whoo, and you turn around, and there's Yankee security going, son, we want the ball.
All right. If they're taking me somewhere, then I'm following them. But if they're just asking for the ball, I'm saying why I want the ball. And if they insist, I am running to the D train and I'm going home.
Okay.
And maybe this is because I thought what happened on game day at App State was really cool, for lack of a better term. But they had 3 people on game day they brought up who made signs, and whoever had the best sign, they gave him a free year of tuition. And the kid's going crazy, and he's running around. And then they announced that the chancellor of the school said, give all 3 a free year.
Oh,
right.
How about that?
So that's in my head. And as a college student, I'd be going down, yeah, Aaron, you can have the ball. How about you take care of my junior year of college?
Ooh, the negotiator.
Oh, I'd want cash.
The negotiator.
I don't want a bat. I don't want a signed ball. I want cash. And if you're not going to give it to me, then I'll keep the ball.
Okay. So your instinct is to say, hey, this is worth something. I'll give you the ball, but, I'm working hard, family, and, you paying for junior year of college would mean a lot. Okay. And Felipe, you're keeping the ball and you're running to the D train and you're going home.
Well, I'm only keeping it because, like I said, it's not breaking any records.
I understand. I'm just saying that once again, they show up, they're in your grill. You're deciding, nope, I'm keeping this.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're keeping it and you're,
I'm going down to the locker room to do some negotiating.
Okay. Kid gives Yankee security the ball. He says, Judge should have this. It's his ball. Okay. Now, to the Yankees and Judge's credit, they were like, come with us. Okay. So Yankee security said, that's very nice of you. Follow me. And so they took him. And in the meantime, while they're taking him, to the clubhouse, the Yankees are scoring 4 more runs and they're winning. And so he shows up at a very happy Yankee clubhouse, and he gets to meet some of the guys. He gets to meet Judge for a short time. They have a conversation, and he ends up getting some autograph stuff. All right. But, we have these hypotheticals. This now has played itself out, and they're home all week, aren't they?
Yes.
So there's a really good chance at the rate that he's homering that he's going to hit 61 and or 62, and he's going to do so at Yankee Stadium. And by the way, for those, he did it in their 147th game. Remember, a lot was made of Ruth hit his 60 and 154, Maris hit 61 in the very first year that Major League Baseball went to a 162 game season.
In fact, he hit in game 154, he hit 59 and nearly hit 60.
Right. So Judge is actually ahead of Ruth's pace. And he's done it in like 8 or 9 less at bats also, even if you want to go by that. But so Anyway, the kid, a college kid, 20 years old, he and 3 of his buddies last minute decide, you know, what the heck, let's go to the game. And he gave the ball back.
Good for him.
Right. Now it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. 61, 62, that sort of deal.
How much crap do you think he got from his 3 buddies on the way home?
Well, probably some, I mean, he is coming home with, he's got some baseballs. He's got a jersey. Things are signed. All right. I mean, he is coming home with some nice stuff.
I got you.
Right. But he doesn't have his junior year of college paid for.
They're giving him grief.
Sure.
You didn't take me to the locker room with you. What the hell? I mean.
Wait, you didn't get any cash? Wait, you gave him the ball?
You need me to pay for this Uber home? Are you out of your mind?
Can I change my answer?
No. See, that's
no.
Think about it. Because you, within 30 seconds, you avoid the mosh pit. You stand up, you go, whoo, you're celebrating, you turn around, and there's Yankee security. And there it is, baby. It's go time. You're before, pardon the pun, the judge. All right. And you're having to enter your plea right then and there.
But I think I already said it though. I'd be like, I'd like to give it to him myself.
No, you
that's
said
not what you
that's
said
not
at
what you
all.
said. I think what I said is you can't change what you said. What you said was I'm keeping the ball. Felipe,
you said I'm keeping
good.
the ball.
We asked you a question. You answered the question. We don't need anything other than that.
I said my alternative.
No,
though.
you never said that the first time.
No, actually, you didn't.
You're still trying. You're still trying to come up with another answer. You said you wanted to change your answer, and you damn well were going to make sure you changed it.
I think you're realizing that you had A, B, C, and D as the choices, and well, you chose the wrong one upon further review, and that's the thing when these, this happens. It's almost like, if let's just say something's happening near us and the 3 of us are going, we almost need to have the conversation on the way there. So what if by chance we catch this ball? What are we doing? I mean, if you think about it, you might even have to have that conversation because when it happens very quickly. They are on you.
And it was a mosh pit, to say the very least.
And it doesn't matter if it's, Yankees, Cardinals, what have you. I mean, when this thing happens, it happens quickly and they want the ball and they ain't taking no. Now, you can say no. I mean, they will not physically hold you hostage or anything, but they are trying really hard to get that ball back. So I just, play it out. How would you have handled it? What would you have done? The 20-year-old college kid said, you know what? It's his ball. He earned this.
You earned it. You're the one that fought all the people.
So that even could be a poll question. What do you do if you catch one of these things? Miller and Moulton. Hey, thanks for waking up with us on this hump day. Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, Only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, Felipe, according to Racer 13, you said if they ask him to follow them, you would. But if they ask for the ball, you are running.
And that's
That
a
is
fact.
exactly what I said.
Yeah, I know.
Gotcha. But they are asking for the ball. That's what they do. They show up, and we said that. They ask you for the ball. They want the ball.
Right. And my response would be
If
I'd like to give it to him myself. And when or if they say no, I am
right. So
piecing
you
out.
were gone.
I'm piecing. Yes.
Right. So you would not have. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
because they're negotiating with you. They want the ball. Okay. And so the only answer they will accept is I will give him the ball, but I would like to meet him. At which point they'd go, okay. Okay. You're saying, okay, that you want to use them to meet him, but then you're not going to give him the ball. That's what you said. If they ask for the ball, you're running. Well, they want the ball.
God dang. How about Bianca? Bianca's got all these now does these would you rather polls. Would you rather catch your dad cheating on your mom or catch your significant other cheating on you?
Oh,
Wow.
It's really easy. I'd rather catch my dad. I never did,
well, yeah, it's
but I'm aware he did a lot.
Well, in KW, Brady's ball just sold what, yesterday, the day before, something like that? 150 grand. His last touchdown, that wasn't his last touchdown.
Yeah, they ended up giving that money back, but yes.
Well, no, but then I think they just sold it again. I thought like 2 days ago.
Oh, did they really?
I saw a tweet.
Okay.
Something about it.
Who's the one selling that ball?
Someone just texted the show and said on the Michael K show yesterday, they said that this ball would fetch 62 would fetch upwards of $2.5 million.
That's the one.
I find that hard to believe.
I do too.
But then again, if you're lucky enough, if you got a really rich guy who's a Yankee memorabilia guy, maybe.
See, because the record is 61, so 62 would be the breaker. I wonder how much 63, 64, 65, if he hits 66, like each continuous record-breaking one.
Well, it's funny.
is.
To me, 63 through 72 don't mean anything. To me, the magic ball is 62.
Right.
That's just me.
If he hits 65, I bet 65, since that's the one. That's the number for the season. Bet that one's got a decent amount. Wait, McGuire's NL record ball was in Miami?
I remember late, well, in September anyway, and McGuire hit one to straightaway center field at Pro Player, and the fans, that was the part of the park where there were no fans,
The tarp.
and fans raced onto the tarp, and they were falling through the tarp onto the seats, and guys were like crawling to get the ball.
Yeah. They did that because of the orange seats.
No coffin ball.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. We were just talking Aaron Judge during our first segment. He's now leading the batting race. Season ended today, he'd win the Triple Crown. It's a
Contract year. Right.
What a year for guys betting on themselves.
It's so far, he turned down 30 and a half per season. 7 for 30 and a half was the final offer from the Yankees. So it was like 213 and a half. And then this year was going to, whatever arbitration was between 17 and 21. And so the Yankees were offering 17. So what was on the table was like 8 for 231. But the extension was $30.5 million a year. What do you think? That goes up at least $10 million a year?
Yes.
Times 7 or 8 years. I mean, you could argue when all is said and done that Judge this year will have made himself $100 million. Because 7 for 30, and now we figure he's going to get 7 or 8 for 40. So it'll be close to
It's
100
8.
million.
By the way, it's 8.
Well, there's no doubt whatever he wants the term to be, it's going to be.
8. He wanted 8.
He
They
did.
offered 7.
Right.
He's going to win the Triple Crown. The Yankees are going to give him 8. This isn't even, I mean,
I agree.
I'm fine with discussing it. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, but if New York radio stations are going to waste time discussing what it is he's going to get, they're wasting it. It's 8. It's 8 for 320, and just call it a day.
It's the way we like to do the negotiation. Here's a piece of paper and a pen. You write down what you think is fair.
I don't know what to tell you.
Because
New York can't let him go.
No, they cannot. They cannot. And because also from a resource standpoint, there is no viable answer to your fan base. You can't just look at them and go, well, he asked for too much money.
You're the Yankees.
Exactly. Nobody's generating more revenue than you. Your fan base is looking at you going, hey, we know how much tickets are, okay? I mean, Heineken's are $15, all right? And now we're not talking the 20, 30 ounce. No, we're talking a 12 ounce. No. Come on now. So that's all. Just wanted to, get that on the record. He's minimum 70 million, but probably 80 to $100 million is what he is going to make for himself this year by betting on himself. Schwarber leads the National League in home runs with 40.
Right. That's a really good year.
I think it's second in all of baseball. I mean, there's some people out there Goldschmidt's having a hell of a year.
Right. He's going to finish top 3, top 4 in every category in batting in the National League.
Right. I mean, he's going to win the MVP.
Right.
It's going to be a hell of a year. Yeah. Uh-huh. This Ohtani guy, he's amazing. Think about it, by the way. Okay, what did Judge do yesterday? He tied Ruth. Ohtani could be like, yeah, that's cute. That's cute. I'm going to go pitch tomorrow. But do these things have value to you?
I think it's really cool. I'm enjoying watching Judge do something extraordinary. It's not a record to me when he gets to 62. It's not.
Are you okay with somebody saying it's the American League record?
Say whatever you want. Say it's you know what? Just skip the damn American League. Say it's the Yankee record. And I'm not joking around, because that's more important to most people than the American League record. No one gives a damn about the American League record. You hit more home runs than Maris and Ruth, that means something in the city.
It does kind of resonate.
Just keep it to what it is.
Okay.
And I think
enough.
it's fantastic. I think it's good for baseball. I think this guy's amazing. I think the fact that he continually throughout this process has been able to say it's about winning games. And he has never deviated from that. He has never changed his tone. And he was fired up last night. Why? Because they came back and won the game.
5 in the 9th. He was the first. Stanton with a slam, which is worthy of like a mention in New York this morning. It was like, hey, that was cute what Giancarlo did. He hit the slam, actually won the game. Now back to Judge.
So I like it. I don't know how much, and I'd like it to be our poll question. I'm trying to figure out the proper verbiage of just kind of ranking its.
You think Judge is clean?
I thought of 2 poll questions this morning while I was getting ready. One was just simply how cool you think this is and trying to figure out how to phrase that word, just the perspective of what people think of this.
Right.
And my second one was, do you think he's clean? I do. And I hated the fact that question popped in my head, but there are so many cynics out there and nobody believes anything anymore.
Well, now see, don't blame yourself. Okay. On this one, this is baseball's fault. Baseball has earned this. All right. When you allow to have happened what happened a generation ago, and when your record book is now completely distorted because of what you allowed to happen, all right, then you get these questions. So this is on baseball. All right. This is not a fall of Miller and Moulton here. We're not to blame here for bringing this question up. Baseball earned this. They looked the other way. They knew what was going on. They allowed their record book to be destroyed. This was the greatest single season accomplishment in their sport. They allowed it to be obliterated for more than just 1 year, by the way, for a good 5-year window, the late 90s into the early 2000s. McGuire and Sosa may have hit what they hit 70 and 66, I think, were what they hit in 99, I believe it was. 98 or 99. I think it was 99, but all right. Bonds breaks the record in the early 2000s was when he hit 73. Only year, by the way, he hit 50 or more home runs was when he hit 73. Not that anything was going on.
Nothing was going on.
No. I mean, come on. How could
his head was exploding.
How could you even suggest such a thing?
No, I mean.
But they brought this on themselves. It's why, and we talked about this off air, maybe those that follow us on the Miller Moulton Twitch channel heard us talking about this in recent weeks, but we said if we were Judge, we would be taking drug tests every day and letting and giving them the media say, here, you could take the lab and you could.
The old Rick Riley with Sosa saying, here, go ahead.
Take it and I'll take it to the lab. We got one right underneath the stadium here. We can at Wrigley, we can have this tested and back and what have you. And Sosa freaked out on him. But I mean, if I'm Judge, if you and I were Judge, we might go the extra step and say, hey, I really want to prove my point here. All right, that this is a big deal. And by the way, I'm on the up and up. And I'm willing to prove it.
Every day. So those were the 2 things I was thinking coming in this morning.
So how big of a deal is it? And or do you think he's clean?
Yes. And I think he's clean, for the record.
He is huge.
He's a gigantic human.
Man, oh man. I mean, NFL players look at him and go, wow, that's a big dude. I mean, seriously. I mean, I think he's bigger than Travis Kelce.
I'd say he'd be a really good tight end.
Oh, man. In the red zone?
It's a target right there.
He's a double-digit touchdown guy right there.
Undersized power forward.
Miller and Moulton. The starting five is next. You may hear Aaron Judge with a factoid or two. But there is a lot else that went on in the world of sports yesterday, and we'll bring it to you next. Miller and Moulton.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Read it.
What's it say? How big of a deal is Aaron Judge chasing Maris's 61 home runs to you? Big deal. He's clean. Fun story to follow. Call me when he hits 70.
Or do you want the last one to be yawn?
Change that to yawn. I like that a lot. Is it how big of a deal is Aaron Judge's? Aaron Judge, just Judge, right? Changing Maris's, yeah. Okay. 61 home runs to you. How big of a deal is Aaron Judge chasing 6 Maris? Big deal. He's clean. Fun story to follow. Yawn. That works for me. The E-Bates captain is putting his career on pause.
So maybe there's a possibility of a Gronk.
Well, I was going to say, if we do this in the 9 o'clock, it's a Buckley-like return to come back for the playoffs. Is he going to become a realtor too? Oh, Pat's going to be pissed.
I forwarded it to him. I did. I did. So I forwarded the email and said, I know you care about this more than the games.
Certainly more than Miller and Moulton.
More than the NFL. It's an interesting point, Bray. Yeah.
And Arch, I've been pretty consistent with that for 15 years on the air. Could give a rat's ass if they do steroids.
Salisbury's tweet.
Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So did you settle on a poll question?
I did.
What do you got?
How big of a deal is Aaron Judge chasing Maris's 61 home runs to you? Big deal. He's clean. Fun story to follow, or yawn? Yawn is going to have a strong vote in this one, I think. We are very bold today, David. In the midst of football season, where the Miami Dolphins are top 5 in people's power polls.
You're right. And let me tell you, those power polls have a lot of meaning.
They have none. But
right, that's kind of the point. Zip, zilch, nada.
But,
wow, a power ranking in a sport with a playoff. Who cares what your power ranking is? This isn't college football.
Yeah, but it's number 1 against number 5 this week. That would be a big deal. And I'm telling you, for Dolph fan who's been nowhere near the top 5, I said I knew it when I saw it yesterday for the first time. I said it to Philly when you were making your airport run. I said, Dolphin fan won't be able to handle this today. This is just terrible. Because now the expectations get higher.
Money's coming in on the Bills, you know. I mean, it's already gone from 5 to 5.5. My guess is it gets to 6. There'll be a late run coming in on the Dolphins late Saturday, Sunday. Maybe it'll go back down another half point, but I'm guessing it gets to 6. And if it gets to 6.5, look out. So that's the poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com. Judge chasing Maris. how big of a deal is it to you? And if you consider it to be the legitimate home run record, and Sosa, McGuire, and Bonds you find to be crap, I tell you, crap, then this is a big deal. If you still think 73 is the record, then, this is cute, this is fun. And if there's nothing that baseball can do to get your interest, then yawn.
Curious how the yawns take place
Right.
here in football season, David.
So that's our poll question. All right, let's do this.
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
It's funny. The Pirates had an 8-4 lead going to the bottom of the ninth at Yankee Stadium last night. Judge led off the inning with a homer. You may have heard it was his 60th. And the next 4 guys for the Yankees all got on base. The last one, Stanton, hit a slam. So the Yankees scored 5 in the ninth to beat the Pirates. Closer came in, faced 5 guys, didn't get any of them out. It's a rough outing. That really hurts the ERA. 9-8 Yankees, walk-off. Rays shut out second straight game at home against the Astros. 5-0 the final. Make it worse, McClanahan in the 5th inning, he'd already given up 4 runs. He throws a pitch. He clearly has some discomfort. He says it's his neck. And that quote, "I'm fine." That's what he said afterwards, but he was taken out of the game immediately. 5-0 Astros over the Rays. Rays lose ground to the Jays in the battle for maybe who could have home field in the 4-5 wild card matchup. 18-11. The Jays outslugged the Phillies. Schwarber did hit his 40th for the Phillies. He leads the National League. Mark, the 18 runs by the Blue Jays. There are 32 teams in the NFL. Care to take a guess how many teams the Jays last night outscored from the NFL this past weekend?
Oh, just off the top of my head, I would think that's going to be
out of 32.
8.
Okay, so you say 12. Do you know scoring's down? And it's down nearly 3 points per team so far, 2 weeks into this year. People trying to figure out why. Little over 21 points a game teams are scoring on average. Last year at this time, they were scoring 24.
Generalization for me would be offensive line play.
Oh, I'm just saying.
No. I mean,
right.
that just
I'm just saying, throwing that out there. That's noticeable. And because of it, the under has been the play in a huge way through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. If you played the under so far, you might have enough money in reserve to gamble most of the rest of the year. That's how big a play the under has been so far. Seattle lost to Oakland 4-1, but the Orioles, with a chance to gain ground, lost again. They are fading. Detroit beat them 3-2. They are 5 back of Seattle for the final playoff spot. Technically, the Rays are in the 5 hole, 2 games behind Toronto and a half a game ahead of Seattle. But they are 5.5 clear of the Orioles, 6 clear of the White Sox.
The American League is over. It ended last night.
It did because Cleveland beat the White Sox in 11, 10-7. Their lead is 5 with 14 to play, and it's really 5.5 because the win last night by the Guardians gave them the season series against the White Sox. There's no more 163. There's just a head-to-head tiebreaker. That's it. Same with the Mets and Braves, by the way. And right now, the Mets lead the season series 9-7. That's why let's just say Mets have a 1-game lead going to Atlanta in a week. Braves take 2 out of 3, and the teams are tied with 3 to play. The Mets are a half a game in front because they will have won the season series 10-9. So keep that in mind. Speaking of the Mets and Braves, they both won last night. Mets trailed 4-0 in the 6th in Milwaukee. Alonso with a 3-run homer in the 6th. Lindor with a slam in the 7th. They rallied to beat the Brewers, and it's a big loss for the Brewers, 7-5. Atlanta won their 10th straight at home, 3-2. Teams still tied in the loss column. Braves technically a game back because they played 2 less games. But the Cardinals lost again, 5-0 to the Padres. But with the Phillies, who have lost, by the way, 5 in a row, and the Brewers have not taken advantage of it. Right now, Mark, San Diego is the 5 seed. They would play the second-place team in the NL East. The Phillies are the 6 seed, 2.5 games ahead of Milwaukee. And I believe it's 3 in the loss column. Big loss by the Brewers last night, a 4-0 at home with the 6th. You got to get that horse into the barn. We mentioned Cleveland over the White Sox 10-7. They have a 5-game lead with 14 to play. Dodgers and Diamondbacks split a twin bill. Boston beat Cincy 5-3. 79-72 on hand in Miami last night for the Cubs' 2-1 win over the Marlins. 79-72. Rangers turned to triple play last night. That doesn't happen very often.
No, it does not.
Angels, and what was funny was the Angels had scored 3 runs in the inning and had a bunch of ducks on the pond, and then the Rangers got out of it with a triple play.
Have you seen one in person?
A triple play?
Yeah.
No, never have. 5-2 Angels. Twins lost again. I'll tell you what, some people may lose their jobs in Minnesota. Like we think Mattingly's toast in Miami. I think some people losing their jobs in Minnesota. Twins lose to the Royals 5-4. Giants beat the Rockies 6-3. Maury Wills died yesterday, a couple weeks shy of turning 90. He brought the stolen base back into baseball. Pretty much from Ty Cobb, Ruth and Gehrig had brought the home runs and teams stopped running. And I mean, they stopped running for 30 plus years. And Maury Wills damn near single-handedly brought the stolen base back into baseball in the early 60s. He was the first one to ever steal over 100 bases in a season.
You know what baseball could use?
Maury Wills?
Damn right.
He was a really good dude. All right. He spent a lot of time in Fargo. He was friends with the minor league manager there. I got to know him pretty well. All right. They dedicated something to him in Fargo, Maury Wills. He spent so much time there. But
don't they do that for anybody that spends an inordinate amount of time in Fargo?
No, I didn't get honored. I didn't get a statue, nothing.
All right.
I didn't even get $50 to leave town, nothing. You blankety blank. Lot of Tampa Bay Bucks news yesterday. Defensive tackle Akeem Hicks going to miss a month with a left foot injury. Mike Evans had his appeal heard last night. We'll probably find out today, tomorrow at the latest, as to whether or not he's going to miss Sunday's game against Green Bay. Remember, the Bucks lost their left tackle in week 1, and so Josh Wells had to play, week 2. Yeah, Wells ain't going to play week 3 with a calf injury. So we don't know who's going to play left tackle right now for the Bucks against the Packers. That would seem to be a problem.
That doesn't seem like a way to get ready for a game.
We know who one of the extra wide receivers is going to be, though, with Godwin and Julio and Mike Evans probably suspended. Cole Beasley, who's 33 years old. It is interesting. He had 82 catches each of the last 2 years, and nobody offered him a contract. It's because that Holy wouldn't get a shot. And COVID,
I don't know why that's
anymore. I don't know why that's an issue.
How's that holding someone back? But yeah, he signed to the practice squad yesterday.
All right. Pro Football Hall of Fame, 129 candidates. 129 candidates for the Hall of Fame. They'll narrow it down to 25 in November. First timers, Mark: Joe Thomas, Darrelle Revis, Dwight Freeney. I mean, Joe Thomas, Darrelle Revis, Dwight Freeney. You think they're all going in?
Yes.
But I mean, you think they're all going in this year?
Yes.
Okay. Here are the 10 finalists who didn't get in from a year ago: Jared Allen, Rondé Barber, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Devian Hester, Willie Anderson, Zach Thomas, Patrick Willis, DeMarcus Ware, and Andre Johnson. When we keep talking about the backlog to get it in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I mean, do you agree, by the way, that those 3 are walking in?
I don't know if Freeney gets in this year.
Okay.
I think Joe Thomas walks in. I think Revis will get in first time. He should. But I think he will.
All right, you want to hold Freeney off, fine. I mean, because there's a lot of momentum for Zach Thomas going on right now.
Well, and also I'm wondering, does Freeney have to hold off for Jared Allen, who was a finalist last year? Did they put that pass rushing defensive in first, or DeMarcus Ware? Do one of those two get in before Freeney? Numbers are similar. By the way, college football news, ACC moved their headquarters from Greensboro to Charlotte. It's a lot of, the SEC still in Birmingham. Why can't the ACC be in Greensboro? You can't get direct flights to Birmingham. And at the same
you cannot.
So, why is it not an issue in the SEC, but it was a major issue in the ACC? Just throwing that out there. Both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State ADs confirmed yesterday that Bedlam is dying. It's this year, maybe next. That's it. It's over. Golf, Greg Norman announcing he will not be at the QBE shootout in December this year in Naples. New York Post report that Sinclair Broadcasting's got money problems. We'll talk about this later on in the show. That's the company that owns the 21 regional Bally Sports networks. They have the rights to 42 teams, 14 baseball, 16 NBA, including the Heat, and 12 NHL teams. Sinclair reportedly in so much financial trouble that Major League Baseball, the NBA, and the NHL may step in and buy the respective networks so that those teams' games can continue to be televised, and then they'll make the money going forward.
And we'll get into this more, but more if they go bankrupt, these rights fees that teams are going to get go away.
Right. Exactly. Big NHL news day yesterday. The three defensemen who all played 10 or more years retired. Zdeno Chara is going to sign that one-day contract and retire as a Bruin. Keith Yandel, who set the record for playing in the most consecutive games last year, 16 years in the league, he's retiring, and so is PK Subban, who will star as a member of the media covering the NHL beginning immediately. And, oh, by the way, Nathan McKinnon signs an 8-year, $100 million deal with the Avs. That's $12.5 per. And, Mark, I know what a big fan you are of the outdoor games. They're going to have two of them next year, the second in Raleigh.
Yes.
The Caps and the Canes are going to play. The NHL announced yesterday they're going to allow fans, quote-unquote, on the field, so to speak. I think they're going to set up some bleachers in and around the rink on the football field to get fans closer, a little more intimate.
Yeah, my son is very fired up, being the North Carolinian that he is, to go see this outdoor game and, what probably will be 60-degree weather.
And that, gentleman, was...
That was the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
7 minutes before the hour. So there's a lot of meat on the bone from yesterday.
There was. And certainly to me, of all the things, the little chunk there out of Tampa could be the biggest, losing another lineman. I mean,
right.
This is at critical stage.
Right. Eric Fisher's sitting at home.
You beat me to it.
Come on. I mean, Cole Beasley was sitting at home. By the way, the only reason they signed him was because Brady said, could you get him in here? He can play. I need guys who can play. I'm sacrificing my marriage for this season. Get me who I want. Damn it. Miller and Moulton. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Pick anybody.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Well, some of the Russians failed tests, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, Mac, you know what also hurt them, which, whether it should have or not, but at the time, Maury Wills also had a drug and alcohol problem for quite a while. Now, Don Newcomb helped him get it under control 30 plus years ago, but I think that hurt Maury with Hall of Fame voters when his candidacy was being considered. Remember, it was being considered in the late 70s and all through the 80s. There was much more of a stigma then. Oh, wow. He's safe. He's safe. How could they not overturn that? Oh, my God.
Bless you.
Jeff, you make a valid point. Very valid point. How are you, by the way? How's the family? Hope you're doing well. Oh, they had used their 2 challenges before the top of the 7th. Wow. Oh, baby. Morning, everybody.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Bud Elliott to join us to talk a whole lot of college football in about 35 minutes time. You can chime in a couple of different ways. You can text the show, FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000 21000. Let us know what's on your mind. You do it once, you're in. And well, we've been talking about this Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Check it out. Get to see the show. You get to chime in the Twitch chat room. Follow us, subscribe to us. You know, you can take part during the commercial breaks. We kick a few things around, not always sports. Check it out. The Miller and Moulton Twitch channel at twitch.tv. And Twitch also is where you can see Thursday Night Football. You can see it for free. And you don't even have to pay for Amazon. Amazon owns Twitch. So you can kind of get around it there. At least I think you can.
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
And I forgot to check, but someone in the Twitch chat room did say they watched it that way. Now, I don't think you can take it. You can't AirPlay it from your phone to your television. But if you have a PlayStation, the Twitch app is on that. I don't know what other areas you get it, but I can do Twitch from PlayStation, and you can watch it on that, which would get you around and be able to put it on the big screen.
Twitch is also on Apple TV as well. If you have an Apple TV box, you can download the Twitch app.
You know, I am so glad you mentioned those two words together, Apple TV.
I know where you're going with this.
Because this could be Rob Manfred's legacy, at least in the New York metropolitan area. But Apple TV has exclusive rights to a game every Friday night in Major League Baseball. It's like 21 games a year. And they're going to have the Yankees game this Friday. I don't know if you're aware that there's a little bit of attention involving that team because they've got a player who's on the verge of winning the Triple Crown and setting the American League home run record while doing it. He just tied Babe Ruth last night, and he's about to pass Roger Maris. And who knows, Friday could be the day. Right. And you're going to have to go to Apple TV to see.
Well, that's if you have Apple TV.
Right.
Right.
To see the game. Right. Uh-huh. They're going to lose their mind, just so you know. The Yankee fan in the New York metropolitan area is going to lose their mind. All right. And I can only hope that it happens. And in fact, what I'm hoping is that he doesn't homer the next couple of days and that he hits both home runs on Friday. That's why I hope he ties Maris and breaks Maris both on Friday. That's what I hope.
Look, the Yankee fans already tough to be around. Are you trying to make it more difficult to be around Yankee fans?
I just want Major League Baseball deserves this. That's all. That's all. And then I think us as sports fans, we deserve this. This is the future. All right. We might as well have it. Let's get a big dose of it right away. Mark, this is like, how do you get in the water? Okay. Some people, they dip their toes in. Ooh, that's chilly. I'm going to walk down here and wait a little bit. Then I'm going to put my feet in. Ooh, the ankle, it's cold and what have you. You cannonball into the deep end. That's how you do it. It's over. 4 seconds. It's done. It's the same way with the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic Ocean. Run in. Dive into the water. It's over. It's chilly. And then when it finally gets above your waist, that sensitive part of the belly. Just get in the damn water. That's what I want I want 61 and 62 Friday, Apple TV. Let's deal with this.
You know, I'm a big fan of all the radio shows out there. I'm a big fan of the Dan Patrick Show, of the shows that are out there. I think they do a terrific job of national shows. At the end of the show, they do a little bit what I learned today. What I learned today is that you actually have a sensitive belly.
I don't know if I do or not because I cannonball into the deep end.
I always thought someone's sensitive area was slightly below the belly. Personally, I have found that when cold water hits certain areas, that it can affect you, but it's never been my belly.
Tell me you have never seen your wife, all right, get into the water and do the whole, it's cold. And then it's when it gets above the waist and it gets on the belly, that's a whole new sensitive area of, it's cold. Okay, you don't get that reaction when it gets above the knee. You don't get that reaction from the thigh. You get that
a little above the thigh.
Okay, but you get that reaction, okay, from, it's cold. It is when it gets to the belly. That's when you get that reaction.
David Moulton, sensitive belly.
Actually, now that they took the kidney out, I got the whole left side of the belly. I don't feel a damn thing. So if I had one, I only have half of one now.
And I would argue that Major League Baseball did not cannonball in the pool. They merely stuck their toe in on once a week.
Yes, they
That's
are.
all they're doing.
Yes, they're
They're just sticking their toe in there. They're just trying to figure out what the temperature is.
Right. And let me tell you something. On Friday, it's going to be really damn cold. Is what it's going to be. It's going to be Arctic blast. Is what it's going to be. That's
no one's there to push them in.
Right. Is it too much to ask? I mean, you
are really a blankety blank this morning. What has happened to you?
Well, maybe a little sleep deprived. It's like, what's the insurance company? Okay, I think I'm rooting for Mayhem.
Wow.
I think I've become the Mayhem guy this morning. I'm rooting for Mayhem.
You definitely are.
I am. Come on.
Those commercials are the best, by the way.
It's a nice little marketing campaign they put together. All right. That guy's made a lot of money. I mean, listen, when you come up with a marketing campaign where a guy can do the same ads for 3 years,
at least
that's a
3.
It's more like
try like 10.
Yeah, he's been at this for a lot longer than this. Has been a while. Put it this way. I know for a fact I was still selling advertising for the place we're working at.
No.
Absolutely. Because
really?
they had the straight guy. When these commercials started out, they had the voiceover guy that had the great voice, and he would do some of the Allstate ads. You had that guy and you had the Mayhem guy. The Mayhem guy's lasted.
Oh, you mean Joe Wu from Major League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did all those commercials with the voice, and they had the Mayhem guy who used to be on Oz, which was the prison show, which I can't get out of my head, with the Liberty Mutual guy from Oz doing one insurance company and the other guy from Oz doing the Allstate commercials. But one of my clients, who's an Allstate agent, said they brought them both at one of those conventions. They bring both guys in. The first guy, of course, is very articulate and speaking to all the agents. And the Mayhem guy, he said, was exactly like the commercials. Cursing, it did not leave character for his speech to all the Allstate agents.
Well, he was also Kevin. Anyway. It's too early. I mean, I can't remember names in movies when I have a good night's sleep. I got no shot now. He was Dennis Leary's brother on Rescue Me.
There you go.
All
Okay.
right. That's what he was.
Very good.
Thank you. Glad that came together. I turned around and touched. You know what happened? I cannonballed in the deep end there. Miller and Moulton on this Wednesday. So that's all. Is that rooting for that? Am I a bad person? Does that make me a bad person, or does that make me when people say the comment, "Oh, so and so's got a sense of humor"?
It's very 2022 of you.
Thank you.
That's all I will say.
Thank you. Can I go back to the cold belly? Ooh, cold.
Sensitive belly. Things we've learned on today's show. Holy cow. If you have a sensitive belly, text the show. 21,000.
Future poll question. How would you rate, how sensitive is your belly to cold water?
How many guys are going to ask their wives today?
Hey, do you have a sensitive belly?
I was listening to the radio today. They were talking about a sensitive belly.
Right. Think we can find out later? Never mind. Never mind. Our poll question. Judge.
Does he have a sensitive belly?
Chasing down Maris for the American League home run record. Is this a thing with you? Is this like, yeah, it's a big deal. This should be the all-time home run record. Everybody else a damn cheater. Yeah. Is this it's fun. It's cute. All right. I'm paying attention now. Is this like whatever? Seriously? Expect me to pay attention to this? That's our poll question.
Right now, most of you saying it's a fun story to follow.
Okay.
Has the majority of the vote.
That's good. Just remember on Friday, you'll have to follow it on Apple TV. That's all I'm saying. Thursday Night Football, where? Amazon. Judge potentially going for a little bit of baseball history. I said a little bit because it's just the American League. Although really there's almost no separation between the leagues anymore. Both leagues have the DH. Beginning next year, they're going to make it so that everybody's playing everybody every year. Less division games, more common opponents. I mean, you might as well get rid of the whole AL-NL thing beginning next year.
Yeah, you could call them conferences before you could call them leagues.
You really
that's really
could.
all they are.
In fact, and I don't know if this is their intention. I don't think it is. But I wonder if it will lead to 10 or so years down the road when we're going to get what? We'll have expansion. We'll be at 32 teams because Oakland's going to settle their stadium thing here in the next 6 months, which is going to put the Rays on the clock, and the Rays will get their thing settled by the end of this decade, one way or another, staying or going. But the Rays will settle their stadium and where they're playing baseball situation, which then will lead quickly to expansion. And Mark, I wonder when we're at 32 teams, do we also then get realignment?
Well, it would make sense, particularly if someone's moving. And do you then, I don't think they would ever put a realignment in where they put the Yankees and Mets in the same division.
Why not? Now, I'm not in favor of it. I'm not saying I'm advocating it. But once you get to 32, so you got the nice number where you can do just like the NFL. You can go 8 4-team divisions. You can go 4 8-team divisions.
I just don't think they're going to put the 2 Chicago teams, 2 New York teams in the same division. I think they'll try to hold on to their history in some way, shape, or form.
Miller and Moulton, Bud Elliott in a little more than 20 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686. or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Questions. It's like they get a segment.
They do exactly. That's what I told them. I said, you guys come out of it. I said, you have 5.5-minute commercial breaks anyway. I go, which on Sirius feels like 10 because all the other channels don't have commercials.
To your point, I listened to one song on the ride to work. I happened to have the NFL. I just didn't hit anything. I realized when I pulled into the parking lot this morning that I was still in the commercial break on NFL radio.
Yeah.
And I never heard anything.
5.5 minutes of the breaks. I got now at the bottom of the hour, 7, because the update takes 90. So you throw it to a 2-minute drill. The minute you throw it, you got 7 minutes. You know, which on Sirius, you know, like, hey, we have 7-minute breaks. You know, but at least you know when you're listening to commercials,
Right?
I mean, when you're on Sirius. Almost every channel doesn't have commercials. Then all of a sudden you go to this one, a 5.5-minute commercial break sounds like an eternity. But you come out of it, all right, and you got like 8 minutes. Well, they shoot the shit for a couple minutes. Let's go to the phones. Well, they give every caller 5 minutes. So by the time they're done with their caller, they shoot the shit for a minute, they go to break. So you've taken that was your segment, basically. You took a caller. Now, I'll say when you're co-hosting, oh, shit. Smoke them if you got them. It's the easiest fucking show in the world to do.
I bet.
You don't do anything. If they wanted, you want to do calls? Fuck, my day's over. Oh, I just have to make sure my computer works so I can see who the hell's on the line. That's it. That's all I do.
I gotta invade. I gotta go steal some of Haney's tissue.
Larry, not sure. Not sure if he's going to win the batting thing or not, but the Twins guy's totally collapsing. But who else is he battling there in the American League? But Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts might be tough.
I just come in here and start the first comment from Adam.
Right.
Since the road to the Super Bowl is going through Jacksonville. I didn't even read anything after that.
I don't know that you have to.
Oh, God, dang. Adam, I hate to do this to you, but there's a pretty good chance I'm taking the Chargers in my suicide league this week.
Whoa. That's bold.
You look at the slate and tell me who you'd take. Kansas City on the road, Chargers against Jags at home.
All right.
$15 seconds.
Tell you what, if you really had a pair this week and you want to make a point, all right, you're feeling your oats, okay, take the Bills in the suicide pool.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott in roughly 15 minutes' time. Joe Hayden's retiring. He's apparently making it official later today. He's going to sign a one-day contract in Cleveland and retire a Brown. A little surprised he didn't get work this year. I know he's gotten older and he's a corner and all that, but I mean, he knows how to play. He was a productive player to the end. I'm a little surprised. I mean, you know, Buck signing Cole Beasley, he's 33. Hey, he can still play. I mean, who cares how old he is?
If given a choice, would you want to retire as a Brown?
Well, I don't.
And I don't mean, you know, a career with UPS. I mean a Cleveland Brown.
No, I got it. I got it. Hey, what can Brown do for you? But he
lose with a lead late.
Played 2,229-0 too. That's got to be the football stat of the year, doesn't it?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I do feel bad for Chubb. By the way, quick tangent, because I think yes, if he had not scored, they would have won. There was also 17 other things they could have done that would have made them win, and he's getting all of the blame, which I feel badly about. But by the same token, you know what he did after the game? He didn't talk to the media. You know, it's my pet peeve, and I've got a few. I admit that. I've got issues. But come on, man. Suck it up. All right? Just go face the music. It's a game. Just go face the music. I digress. But didn't he spend like twice as long with the Browns and with the Steelers?
I'm just having a little fun.
Yes.
He played more games
with
the Browns.
You're picking on them when they're down, you know. I mean, that's
you know what it is? It's that
devastating
damn
loss.
elf.
Wait, you were sympathetic to the underdog Cleveland cause until they put that cartoon character or whatever that is?
I wasn't sympathetic, but I wasn't going to make fun of them.
All right.
There's enough reasons to make fun of Cleveland. It has been an unbelievable offseason. It's not the fans' fault that all of these things happened. So I've left them alone because they've been dealing with the Deshaun Watson thing. They're going through their own interpersonal turmoil, having to have that horrible human being as their quarterback. But then they decide to put the elf out there.
Right.
And I like a Keebler cookie as much as the next guy, David. But at that point, don't the Browns have to start making fun of themselves?
I thought it was a little ridiculous. Got to be honest. You know, just leave the damn helmet out there. That's your helmet. That's your thing. That's who you are. You know, that should be good enough. You know what the other thing that happened after the game? Browns players complained. Myles Garrett complained they were booing us as we walked off the field. I don't like that. You know, the fans need to be more supportive. Seriously? Seriously. Last 230 teams in that situation all won. You guys lost. And how dare us? How dare us?
Paying customer. Boo you, millionaire, for blowing a lead that had never been done before in the history of the game, basically.
Well, at least not this century. Right. How dare us voice our disappointment? A chance to be 2-0 for the first time since the early days of the Clinton administration. How dare us be disappointed in the outcome of the game? How dare you, sir? Yes. I got to give it up to the play-by-play guy of the Browns. And I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he was on like a Browns post-game show. And they brought up Myles Garrett taking on the fans, and he very politely ripped into Garrett and the Browns players and basically said, "Suck it up and deal." All right, that this is what this fan base does for you guys on a weekly basis, and he laid it out. And he said, "I was driving to he said I was hosting a Legends event Saturday night in Cleveland." And at 5:00, I'm driving by the stadium, and they're lined up to get into a certain parking lot. It's Saturday at 5 for a Sunday at 1 game. They have the right to boo you walking off the field.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. You could be Tyler Van Dyke, who basically said, "I'd rather play road games." The Miami quarterback after the A&M game said, "I'd rather play road games than home games because we don't have much of an atmosphere here." Could have it that way, Cleveland. Could have it that way, Myles Garrett, that no one even shows up to watch you play.
Right. Kyle Field is pretty cool.
I like away games better. We really don't have much of a college atmosphere because we played at Hard Rock.
Not only that, but UM's home schedule this year is so weak.
It is.
Look, it's weak every year.
It's so
No.
weak.
It's weak every year, and it doesn't matter. They don't show up.
No, because when Notre Dame came in town, what happened?
Notre Dame fans showed up.
No, that stadium was sold out.
Right.
But you were undefeated number 2 in the country, and that's what it took. And you didn't show up until that game.
10, but okay. Yes.
All right.
We were facing number 2 Notre Dame.
But you ended up you won that game 2 weeks later. You were number 2 in the country. So at the time you weren't number 2, you were in the top 10.
Yes.
I misspoke. But also it was November. You know, it took until outside of a Florida State game, it takes until something like that, an undefeated season in November. It's why there is a belief that maybe the time has come. They got to go smaller and on campus and the whole deal.
Well, we've had Joe Zagacki on the show several times. He has said it before. If they're good, they will show up.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see, because they don't show up. When the last time they were good, they didn't show up unless it was a big game.
Well, it doesn't seem like the players show up either.
That's not true.
It's not true. They played their ass off against A&M. They had 20 more plays. They gained 150 more yards.
They had 27 first downs. They played. They
played their asses off.
They just didn't execute a big play.
In that game, they did play hard, yes. But in previous seasons, it's been rough for Canes fans.
Listen, no offense.
You are, by the way, you at 22 are the quintessential Miamian. You can find anything to complain about why you can't support your teams and why they're bad.
It's
actually pathetic.
It's hard to support the Canes.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's actually not.
No, it's not. It's really not. They gave you 5. Now, granted, unfortunately for you, it was pretty much before you were born, but they've given you 5 national championships and they played for 3 others. And they did it all in a 20-year span. I mean, that alone should give you 10 to 12 years where they could do whatever they want. Honestly, it's like I'm a Giants fan in the NFL. The Giants have gone to 5 Super Bowls. They've won 4. Okay. The Giants have had a really rough decade. I'm okay with it. I am. Now I'm starting to get to the point in which I'd like them to be pretty good again. Okay. But, I mean, as a fan, they've held up their end of the bargain.
Right. But on the college side, it's hard to be a fan of Purdue. That's what's hard. Okay.
I mean, Canes fan for 20 years, they won you 5 national titles. They played for at least 3 others. All right. In a 20-year period of time. Now, granted, the last 20 years, not what you wanted. No doubt. Mediocrity, actually, lately. And that's a bummer. But let me tell you, that 20 years that they gave you, that should have given a 10 to 12-year grace period where just about now you're starting to get annoyed. And you were. And guess what they did? They went out and they got Mario. Okay. And give it an hour and a half. Give it an hour and a half. Give him 2 recruiting classes.
But don't tell me you didn't get an effort when you played A&M and worked your tails off. You just didn't score.
Yeah.
That's all. You know who didn't score? Well, they scored a little, but not a lot until the 9th inning with the New York Yankees. And we've got to try to jam this in here. We don't even have time, do we?
No, we don't.
No.
See what you did?
That was my fault.
See what you did?
That was my fault, actually.
We'll have time next hour. I promise. We'll be clutch.
We weren't very clutch there.
No, but we'll be in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll be clutch.
With a K?
And a C. How about that?
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Got to be caught.
You
Got to be caught.
Wow. The fact that no one made an effort to.
Got to be caught.
Oh, that's a 2-iron.
Yep.
It's a fastball right down the middle of the plate.
I thought it was
Was it?
kind of a slider that backed up.
Oh, it's so funny. I ran into some friends of ours last night at soccer. And
Do you have Bud? Did you send him the thing?
oh, there he is. You have a piece there. Hey there, bud.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, you got to turn the computer on.
What?
There we go. Good morning.
What's going on, guys?
Thanks for the shout out there, bud.
Man, no doubt. I was like, Mark knows his team. Look at that.
Oh, it was a hard watch. I knew it was coming.
All right, yeah, I didn't know that their starting D tackle was even hurt.
I didn't either.
Yeah, like I.
Well, this is Mel Tucker
watched
not
it.
giving out any. He thinks he's
Yeah.
running the CIA for Christ's sake.
this will change in a couple of years when gambling gets really integrated into this
Well,
stuff.
Here's my beef is that, they're not even giving it out to the networks who are broadcasting the games either.
Right.
Okay. And that's total BS. I'm sorry. How many millions do we have to put in this is where, quite frankly, the commissioners of each league need to call up the schools and go, you need to stop acting like you're in ninth grade. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
The National Football League gives out as much information as humanly possible.
Right. Inactives, 90 minutes before the game.
Injuries. Okay. You name it. Okay. It's big boy stuff. Stop it already. Enough.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, it's like I didn't have Michigan State, but I probably would have taken Washington if I had known that there was another guy hurt on that defense. So.
Yeah. And then Reed was out, the good receiver there too. But they have no problem scoring. They just can't stop. I don't know when he's going to figure out. He says it's the Jimmies and Joes right now, but he's a defensive guy, and they can't. This is 2 years of just bad defense.
I mean, I kind of figured that their defense was going to get lit up a little bit because they had in that game against Akron, they lost their starting safety and their starting nickel.
Right.
And I was like, okay, they brought those guys. They brought a couple transfers in. If those guys go down immediately, they're kind of where they were last year, and those guys couldn't really cover. I thought the quarterback play in the Big Ten last year was poor in a lot of instances, and this year it's better. So it's going to get exploited some. And gosh, DeBoer has Washington looking great.
And it's really fun on my Friday night when I'm convinced Air Force is going to score 40 points and they get beat outright.
Okay, yeah. So this is another thing we didn't know. Air Force had 6 guys out with the flu. Starters. And granted, like, it's Air Force, so they have 155 scholarship guys. It really shouldn't matter that much, but they look like shit.
They were terrible.
I like full strength. I would bet them again. I like. There's nothing in my numbers that say like they should be losing to Wyoming at all. I guess it happens. This is kind of a weird weekend.
Yeah.
Well, first off, Tennessee an 11-point favorite against Florida, which last happened when? Jimmy Carter?
Probably. Yeah.
Ford? I mean, come on.
I think Richardson is hurt.
Well, you run them that much against Utah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what play it happened on. Look at this.
You think it happened against Kentucky, or you think it happened against?
I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see this or not. Watch this. This guy dives right into his ankle.
You're listening to Miller
I'll send it to you.
Exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. It's Bud Elliott time on a Wednesday. 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ. His Nolecast, his Cover 3 podcast. You can follow him on Twitter, Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, Bud Elliott 3, Bud Elliott 3. How are you?
Guys, doing well. What y'all up to?
Well, we're trying to figure out college football now that we're theoretically a quarter of the way through the season. What is it that you think you know, Bud, at the quarter pole?
I think I know that if we played the playoff tomorrow, Georgia would be your national champion. Like they look like a finalized product earlier than Bama or Ohio State do right now. And I think I know there's a pretty decent little contingent fighting for that 4th playoff spot. I think Michigan, Penn State, Oklahoma, USC, they all look pretty legit at this point. Some concerns about each of those teams and areas, but I'm excited for the top this year. I think there's a lot of teams that if they get right could do something.
We're not going to find anything out really about Michigan and Penn State until they play one another. But what is it that you need to see between now and then for either of them?
So at least athletically, Penn State has been challenged, right? We know Auburn has some athletes. They don't really have a quarterback, but for Penn State to go down there and beat them like they did. And it was, I thought, pretty much domination on both sides. Auburn occasionally would make some insane 3rd and long conversions, but Penn State pushed them around with their offensive line. We have not seen that in years in Happy Valley. It looks like they have 2 good corners now. We knew about Joey Porter Jr., the son of Joey Porter, but the other kid they have, John Dixon from the Tampa area, is playing really well. And Manny Diaz with the defense, if he has lockdown corners, you know how much he loves to blitz. That's a cool thing to see. Clifford just seems to be very comfortable. Didn't really make any mistakes. Just he's a 26-year-old type guy out there, comfortable in his own skin. I think Michigan is really good, like really good. They're beating teams by 50 and laying off the gas. They played 98 guys against Hawaii. That doesn't happen. So, but we do want to see them. How do they look if they face any adversity? How do they look against somebody who has athletes?
And I hate to say this the way I'm going to say this, but in a perverted way, does Michigan catch a break by one of the 2 quarterbacks getting hurt so that now there is no more quarterback issue, controversy? He's got to play just the one guy. In a perverted way, is that a break?
So I understand where you're going with this. And I think if the competition that they had staged in the first 2 games had been closer, I would totally agree with you. Now I just kind of partially agree because I think McCarthy outplayed McNamara by such an extent that, healthy or not, they're going to go with McCarthy. I mean, I think the whole thing was a setup to be able to play McCarthy and keep McNamara on the roster, to keep him from transferring before the season started. To me, it's pretty clear McCarthy was going to be the guy as soon as they announced this whole competition thing in the first couple of weeks.
When you look at the Canes, and we talked last week, you go through all the box scores. Boy, that's a tough box score to go through because Miami had more plays. They had more offense. They had more first downs. They did everything right, but they couldn't put the ball in the end zone. What is it that you took from that game and where the Canes are looking forward?
So certainly we got some wrong on Saturday, but that game went exactly how we thought it was going to go, right? We put a good breakdown, I thought, on the Cover 3 YouTube channel before the game. I was like, look, I watched Southern Miss, okay? The box score is deceiving. Miami's passing offense is not in sync. Van Dyke has not had to play in a pro-style system before like they're trying to run in Coral Gables. It looks like he's late on his reads or he doesn't trust his receivers yet. And then the news came out that Restrepo, his safety blanket / roommate, was going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with the foot thing. So I don't think Miami has receivers at trust right now. Remember, they lost like 190 targets off last year's team with Rambo and Harley. They don't have proven guys on the outside. A&M did not respect their receivers, and I think it really went how we thought it would go. When you hire Mario Cristobal, you get a tremendous recruiter, a guy who's going to demand everybody else on the staff is a tremendous recruiter, a guy who runs a great program, a guy who develops talent well, and a guy who is terrible at game management. We have 11 years of him as a head coach. This is what you hired, okay? He's going to kick field goals down 2 scores to cut a 2-score game to a 2-score game. He routinely did this at Oregon. It's not new. He's a bad game manager, and that's why you got to love betting unders with the guy. He does not maximize his team's points, but his teams will be really talented. They'll recruit really well, and oftentimes they'll win in spite of that.
Talking college football with Bud Elliott because it's what he does. 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ, Cover 3 podcast, Nolecast. Follow him on Twitter, Bud Elliott 3, Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3. Hey, now I know they come out of it wounded and the war of attrition may just get to them, but that was a really nice win for the Noles Friday, wasn't it?
It was. So Brendan Sonnone, got to give him credit here, of Noles 24/7, does his like top 40 most important Noles. FSU was without 7 of their top 10 at the end of that game due to injury. They were just walking wounded. Tate Rodemaker, the backup, when Jordan Travis goes down, comes in. He comes into that game with a career 13% turnover-worthy throw rate, which is insane. And he throws a pick in the first half to end it. They come out and they're like, hey, we're just going to run basically 2 RPO types with this guy, run the ball. He throws 10 passes in the second half, which, okay. 6 of 10. Johnny Wilson, receiver they got in the transfer portal, has always been huge. has always been athletic, has never caught the ball well. He caught every pass that was thrown to him on Friday night and drew 3 pass interference flags. So pretty good job. You can get 20 yards per target on that kid. And defensively, I almost thought Malik Cunningham got tired because he was that entire offense. So they're hitting him. He is running really well. He's gashing him, but I think his throwing kind of lapsed a little bit there in the second half. And that's a hugely important win for them because it doesn't guarantee they make a bowl. Like if they keep getting injuries, they're just eventually going to run out of players. But it drastically increases the chance they make a bowl. And if you get guys healthy, it keeps you in the conference race.
They get Boston College this week. They're a monster favorite in the game. I think it's 17.5. That's what the hell?
So this is where you have to know the rosters and you have to pay attention. Boston College lost 4 starters to the NFL off its offensive line. Then Christian Mahogany, who's probably the best interior lineman in the ACC, tore his knee up playing pickup basketball in the offseason. So that's 0 of 5 returning. Then they lost their next best remaining guy to an ACL as well. And then Ozzie Trapillo, the tackle, has been out, and another kid has been out. They started a true freshman walk-on against Maine at left tackle, and they gave up like 9 tackles for loss against Maine. So Boston College just doesn't have a healthy offensive line. And FSU does not either, but it's a little bit different because FSU can take transfers in the offseason and did. BC, since it's a good academic school, they don't get transfers in nearly as frequently. So that's basically the explanation, right? Boston College cannot block Maine. And now they got to go face FSU at night. The crowd will be rocking. It'll probably be just an ugly, low-scoring game, I think. But that's the explanation for the line.
I thought Wake Forest was the second best team in the ACC before the season started. Then Hartman had the mystery illness, whatever it was, and didn't know if he was going to come back. Well, he has, the quarterback for Wake. So I think they're the second best team, but now they're playing the best team. But they get them at home. Does Wake have anything for Clemson?
I don't see it, but it's also like a styles make fights type of thing here, as we say in boxing. And Clemson has handled Wake routinely. Even in the past couple of years when their offense has been a little bit sketch, they have destroyed Wake because their defense is something. Wake's offense works against about 99% of the teams it plays, and it's really well run. I think Hartman is a good player. But what Clemson can do to that offensive line of Wake is just a little bit different. I think Clemson gets a lot of guys back this weekend who they held out last weekend against Louisiana Tech. Brian Brzee, I think, should be back as well after the tragic death of his sister. So Wake, I think, had a 48% run stuffed allowed rate against Liberty. And that is a major red flag to me. That tells me Wake's offensive line is not blocking very well in the run game. And their defense is still not very good. I mean, Liberty was playing a backup quarterback, a true freshman, and put up 35 plus. So I think Wake has some athleticism issues on defense, and that offensive line may be leaky. That's not a great recipe when you have to play that Clemson defensive line,
which is obviously one of the best, if not the best, outside of Georgia in the country. Arkansas and A&M. A&M's a 2-point favorite. What's that line last week, if you know what I mean? You know, Arkansas struggles against an FCS team. A&M beats Miami. A week ago, I think this line's easily flipped, Bud.
I agree with you. I think it's probably Arkansas 2.5 if we played the game last week. I do like Arkansas here, guys. So to me, look, Miami pushed around A&M's defensive front a little bit. Like they had some success in the run game. Now, maybe they relied on the run game a little too much, running the ball on 3rd and 6 and then kicking field goals, kind of silly down there. But Arkansas, Cody Kennedy, their offensive line coach, does a really good job. That is a good offensive line. It's on that sort of, I think, Georgia, Oregon, Baylor level as far as offensive lines this year. I think they can move A&M. And while Arkansas's defense is kind of leaky, they've lost some important starters there. Arkansas usually scores on A&M. That's a tough defense or a tough attack to defend with Kendall Briles. I think this is a game where they will run KJ Jefferson if they need to. They don't always do it, but that's a big dude to run behind. I think Arkansas is going to beat them.
Well, the Gators are getting 11 in Knoxville. The Gators have lost once to Tennessee in a generation. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, well, you just take the 11. Then there's the other part of me that says, Because remember, it was a year ago, Bud. Tennessee was a 16-point dog in this game. I mean, we have literally gone 4 touchdowns the other way in 12 months. Have we really?
So this is very complicated. First of all, I love the styles make fights thing here because I don't think any team in the country wants to play slower than Florida does right now. Like they want to play Navy tempo. They don't want to go fast. Tennessee wants to go faster than anybody. Tennessee wants to get into Florida's depth. We know Florida's backup defensive linemen are not any good. The one kid's like 430 pounds. Tennessee would love to see him on the field with their hyper tempo because he's going to be gassed after about 2-3 plays. Florida wants to go super slow and frustrate Tennessee. We'll see who wins the battle of tempo. I don't think Anthony Richardson is healthy. If you watch the second play of that Kentucky game, the Kentucky linebacker tries to tackle him and dives, and I don't know if it's a hyperextension or an ankle or something, but he clearly limps pretty hard after the play, and he just doesn't have the same level of juice that he had against Utah. I mean, when he takes off for that 75-yard run against the Utes, that looks different. That's like, ooh, okay, yeah. Against Kentucky, against USF, when he ran the ball, it was not the same level of giddy-up. And I wonder if he's healthy. That's, I think, the reason for this line. If Richardson is not healthy, I don't see how Florida stays around in this game because he doesn't pass well enough for them to hang around, right? They have to have his legs. But I agree with you on the ranges concept, right? This is historically, should Tennessee really be 11 or 12 or whatever they are now, 10.5 against Florida? I don't know, but then again, there's probably a reason for it. So I see the Tennessee side there.
We got less than about 90 seconds here. Just curious, Ohio State, did they find their offense last week? They started with Notre Dame. Toledo's a good MAC school, and they scored 77 against them. Did they find their offense going into the Wisconsin game?
I think so, and I think part of it is without JSN, Notre Dame kind of played to take away some of the slot stuff they do on third down, so their conversion stuff. And I think now that they have all the full complement of receivers back, I think they found it. Yeah.
All right. Give us a nugget. Give us a gimme. Give us something.
All right. I actually like Syracuse. This might be the last time that you can really lay it against UVA. I think UVA is terrible. And after this week, I think if this game was played again next week, I think the line's 14, not 10.
By the way, we have a chance for Florida State and Syracuse to both be 4-0 heading into October. Talk about what a difference a year makes.
Crazy.
Bud, thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Enjoyed it, guys. Be well.
Bud Elliott, CBS Sports HQ, 24/7 Sports, Cover 3 and Nolecast, his 2 terrific podcasts. They have a lot of fun on the Cover 3 podcast. Probably one of the best college football podcasts out there. I'd put Bud Elliott, Josh Pate. I don't know if anybody's better than those two right now. And the collection of characters that Bud gets on his podcast. I think it's the best stuff out there for college football.
No doubt. And, as Bud was nice enough to give me a little shout out on it last week, he said, I started going on with, we talked about the two of us. He goes, those guys gave me my shot 15 years ago. So Bud's been pretty good to us since then when we've been having Bud on for quite a while, and he delivers college football as well as anybody in the country, we believe.
Seth Everett next hour. And because we were not clutch, our clutch play of the day next hour.
That's Clutch Vodka. Clutch with a K.
Yes. Or a C, or whatever hard consonant sound we have to come up with. But we're doing it next hour.
Let's just get them in the right order. Miller and Moulton.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I'm at soccer last night, run into a couple parents that I know, and they had been to the Dolphins game, and they'd been to a Gators game. She's telling me all about it. She's from Paris, so she got the accent. I love them both. And our kids are in the same class. And I says, yeah, that's great. I says, you couldn't pay me.
Right,
to go to games in
September.
September.
Right.
And she said, did you see where we were sitting? We were in a box for the Dolphins game and a box for the Gators game. Okay, I'd go to that. Well, it turns out the guy's her husband Sharif owns a car repair. He does like Lexus cars, his own repair shop. One of his customers has a box at both.
Wow.
Apparently, Mike's the guy's name. Mike really wants to meet me because he listens to our show every day. And they were so. Celine says, she's telling her 2 kids, one's in 2nd grade, one's in 3rd grade, and 6th grade. Guys, you can't get used to it. You don't sit in boxes. And he says, don't worry, Uncle Mike's got you. I said, I need to meet Uncle Mike.
We all need an Uncle Mike.
Uncle Mike.
So what's the new ad?
Salt Live.
A what?
The new ad you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, Salt Live Transportation.
Oh, okay.
Drake should be in NBA 3-point contest. I should be. No, I'm just kidding. Drake sucks. I saw that clip that you're talking about on Twitter. Drake is trash.
Yeah, Klecker, we all like the Hogs this week. We all don't understand that line. So So what are we doing here? We need one second.
Do you want to do the sports networks?
Yeah.
So the fan got a signed ball and bat for returning the 60th home run.
Mm-hmm.
Someone tweeted the video of that, like the fan walking out with the ball and the bat, and said, "That man has Dennis Schroeder's agent doing negotiations."
Canada likely to drop vaccine requirements by the end of September.
Yep.
It's hockey season.
Yep. Klecko, they do, and he's huge.
They're moonshots.
By the way, the Bedlam thing we could do in the short segment too, because the Oklahoma ADs they ended it. No,
Yeah, and Gundy is ripping the Oklahoma AD, saying this is total bullshit. Okay, this is them trying to now spin this on us when we all know what the deal is.
Coming back.
They left.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Just like that, it is the 8 o'clock hour of Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our buddy Seth Everett will join us coming up in about 35 minutes time. Couple ways that you can chime in on the show. Text us, FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio to 21,000. And then you're in. And you can text away anytime, any time of the day. And you can watch us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. It's the Miller and Moulton channel. And then once you're watching us, you can chime in the Twitch chat room and, all that. So there, we got that going for us. The Clutch Vodka play of the day coming up next segment. An hour later than we normally do it because we got talking.
We got yelling. We got a little animated.
We did. All three of us, actually. And the reason that's relevant is Felipe's got to find the audio clip every day. So the fact that all three of us just blew through that stop sign was pretty funny. So we'll try to hit the brakes next segment.
But one of the stories that David and I wanted to get to today is the talk of, these sports networks, the Bally sports networks, being bought up by the leagues.
So Sinclair Broadcasting owns Bally Sports Networks. And there are 21 regional sports networks. You remember, these used to be the Fox Sports Network.
Well, and we have been, Bally's, that's how we watch Rays. That's
right. I mean, the 21 regional sports networks have the broadcast rights to 42 teams, 14 Major League Baseball teams, 16 NBA teams, including Felipe, your beloved Miami Heat, and 12 NHL teams. Well, if Sinclair Broadcasting, which reportedly is hemorrhaging money, and the people that they are in debt to are reportedly close to saying, we're calling in the loans here. And they would then have to give up these networks, and these networks would go bankrupt. And what does that mean? That means all these teams who count on all of this local TV revenue, that revenue would go away. That's a big financial hit. Big.
Huge. It's what's largely propping these teams up. The regional cable money is keeping these teams afloat. These are the deals that are getting it done. But what's happened is the cable companies have slashed what they're paying because of the cord cutting. And that's why Sinclair is hemorrhaging money with it's Diamond Sports that they spun off, where it's all these networks. This is every pro sports team in Florida that's not in the NFL affected.
And so one of the solutions that's being bantied about is Major League Baseball stepping in, and, well, that would keep things afloat for the 14 Major League Baseball teams that count on this revenue. And the NBA doing the same for over half their league. I mean, 16 of the 30 games are on these Sinclair Broadcasting Bally Sports Network channels. And even in the NHL, 12 of their 32 have their games on Bally Sports. And so the health of these networks and the revenue derived from it is pretty significant. Now, here's the irony, Mark, is that part of the reason that Bally Sports networks are hemorrhaging is Major League Baseball is doing everything they can to bury Bally Sports because they want to set up their own streaming thing.
Right.
And right now there's a conflict because Bally Sports have the rights to half the league and Major League Baseball wants to have the streaming rights to the whole league. And so they're kind of advocating for the teams that aren't associated with Bally Sports. No. You do your streaming thing. We got your back. Okay. Yeah, they may sue. That's okay. We got your back. We're going to do this.
And not Bally's, but Sinclair is arguing that the streaming rights comes with it. And that's the crux to the Major League Baseball argument. It's all the streaming. And we'll get more to that with Seth because that's with TechStream, one of the areas that he covers regularly. But just your thoughts about the leagues buying the networks. I mean, that's a whole new avenue.
Well, I have to admit, as a hockey fan, I mean, the NHL network's horrid. So the thought of the NHL actually buying and helping in any way, because, I mean, I don't think you can have a worse network representing a league than the NHL network. So there's a part of me that thinks that Gary Bettman and company are completely unqualified. Now, Bettman is qualified to financially prop up teams, though. I mean, he has. It's why I've always laughed that Canada boos Bettman. I think the Canadian franchises should love Gary Bettman. I think he's done more to prop up the Canadian franchises during his 30 years as commissioner than maybe he's done anything else. And I love the fact that he gets booed mercilessly in Canada. I don't understand it. He's got 3/4 of the league in the States that basically are like, except for the Canadians and the Leafs, so just let the other teams go under. They're of no use to us. And he's like, no, this is important. I'm propping up Calgary. I'm going to help Edmonton out. In fact, I even want to put a team back in Winnipeg. American owners are like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, that's why you think about that with this. It's almost half the teams on this Bally's deal in the NHL. Of the American teams, it's nearly half the teams that are involved with the Bally's regional sports networks.
Exactly. So Bettman does know about propping up. I mean, God knows they're propping up the team in Arizona, who did just sign a deal with an Indian casino gaming place. And because now they're allowing advertising on NHL uniforms this year. Apparently they can only have that place as a sponsor on their home unis. They're not, the league said you can't have them be a sponsor on the road because in some of the states that you're going to be playing in, gambling's not legal, which I found interesting.
Fascinating. Why would that matter? I watch all kinds of ads every day.
Right.
I'm in Florida and we don't see anything.
Right.
Obviously, you're working on the weekend, so you're not in town. But all we see on Sunday and Monday and Saturday, for that matter, is deposit $10 into your DraftKings account and we'll give you $5 million in free bets.
Quick side note. We have talked over the years about how much is it worth to put your name on an arena. Apparently, the Indian gaming resort place had their name on the arena that the hockey team used to play in. The hockey club said they're getting more money for the patch on the jerseys than they were getting for the name on the arena.
I don't know. I mean, I think we've completely passed arena naming rights being worth a whole hell of a lot.
Okay.
I think they're great in a community, if you know what I mean. I don't think they have the national exposure. It's like this thing that the Steelers did, for crying out loud. What the hell's the name of that place?
Are you
exactly? Heinz Field.
All I know is that it's either once or twice per broadcast in which it is a mandate from the league.
Of course it is.
That you have to do a stadium shot in which the sponsor is mentioned. Because then obviously the team puts that in their sales pitch in which they go, no, this comes from the league. We're not just saying you're going to get 2 blimp shots, okay, and a mention. No. Roger Goodell is saying you're going to get 2 blimp shots and 2 mentions.
I understand, but for fan bases, we all kind of revert back to whatever it was first.
Right.
Sponsored or not, depending on where. So certain places, I think from a community standpoint, where the company is located there and they buy it, I think it's good company, goodwill. But I don't know if the naming rights have a fraction of what they once did when this started.
But I just thought you'd find that interesting, and it's something we have talked about. But also, just how much value does the patch on the uniform have? Well, apparently it's got some value. I will say this. We have one Monday Night Football game in Arizona, and I have not checked the schedule, but they're playing at Arizona State, and that place holds between 4,800 and 5,000 people. I mean, wouldn't you want to go to an NHL game in a 5,000 seat arena?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be like, wow, this is intimate.
Do you know what that would sound like? I mean, first off, a good minor league game sounds great when there's a packed crowd.
Yep.
And you have an intimate setting. But they're better, they're bigger, they're faster. Everything's going to be a little bit louder, a little bit more crisp.
Yep.
I mean, just the sounds alone, I think, would be phenomenal.
So checking the schedule, I want to see if somehow, some way there's a, luck out, and then, I'll try to see whether or not can get tickets.
But you know what else sounds good?
What's that?
A clutch vodka on the rocks right now. Right now, as a matter of fact, at 8:11 in the morning, I could have one. Just get right after it on a Wednesday.
Oh, it is smooth. It is great tasting.
The 3-1. Swung on it. There it goes. Deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone. He's tied the babe. It's a Judgian blast. His 60th home run of the year. Wow. All rise. There comes the judge.
Mark, that was your clutch vodka play of the day.
Sure was.
I have the Michael K call.
You're going to play it whenever you want, so why don't you go ahead and that one now, too?
Michael K.
Instead of maybe...
Fielders on the left side for Judge, and here's the 3-1. Drill deep to left field. There it goes. Number 60. Slide over, babe. You've got some company. Aaron James Judge has tied George Herman Babe Ruth with 60 home runs.
Wow, he went middle name.
Yeah, he should have thrown a nickname in for Judge because he gave, George Herman Babe Ruth.
He went middle name, though. Is he in trouble? I mean, usually the only time you hear, although I will say, Harry Callis always used to call him Michael Jack Schmidt. So, I mean, but usually when I hear middle names, I think someone's getting grounded.
It was always the case in our house, David. It was always the case in our house. That's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Clutch Vodka having their watch parties for Dolphin games at Seaside in Bonita Springs. If you're a Southwest Floridian, check them out with the Bloody Mary Bar at Seaside in Bonita Springs for the Clutch Vodka Miami Dolphins watch parties each week. We are Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Where else but right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. What the hell?
Klecko, obviously, Root's season was 154 games, and he's done it in like 9 fewer at-bats, I think, also than Ruth. So, if you're making those comparisons. And Mark, about the college football teams and the money and patches, what I'm curious about going forward, the commissioner of the Big Ten is on record as saying we need to come up with a way to pay the kids. So I'm curious how it is he's going to do that.
So Pearl Jam played Oklahoma City last night.
Okay.
Their set list, all written out that they had a Sonic sticker on it.
Nice.
Their original band name was Mookie Blaylock. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. The Hillmeyer Tremont Foundation just gave FGCU $1 million donation. Athletic department got $1 million gift from the Hillmeyer Tremont Foundation.
Probably only put him in the red about $5 million now. KW, I don't think so. But he had 6 years in a row where he led the National League in stolen bases. But he was a career 281 hitter.
$30 seconds. I hate that Bally Sports scoreboards.
What, are they too convoluted for you? Or
They're too big.
Okay.
I miss the Fox Sports ones.
DC, man, I interviewed Maury probably 20 times.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Poll question revolves around Aaron Judge. He had his 60th last night. Leading off the ninth, Yankees were losing 8-4 at the time. It started a 5-run ninth for the Yankees, capped off by Stanton hitting a slam in their come-from-behind walk-off win. But back to Judge. All right, he's at 60. American League record 61. He's got 15 games still. 15 games. I mean, Mark, if he were to hit a homer a game, he could take the last day of the season off. He'd have the record. Tongue in cheek. So this Judge story. And what is it for you? Is it cute? You know, hey, it's fun. Is it this is a big deal, man. The other guys are cheaters. The real record's 61. Aaron Judge is about to set the record. As far as I'm concerned, he'll be the home run king. And are you like, yeah, when's Thursday Night Football?
I'll tell you, for people who would I would yawn at people making the first argument, even though, you know, the big deal thing to me, that's a yawn because it's not the record. I think it's a great thing for Yankee fan. I think they're having a ball. I think it's an immensely fun story to follow. Anytime someone's doing something historic, I'm in. Anytime we get greatness, I'm flat out, I'm more impressed with the Triple Crown than I am. I'm as impressed with the Triple Crown as I am the chase for 61.
Judge, with his performance last night and the fact that I think it's pronounced Arise, the first baseman for the Twins, who is just fading and falling apart. Aaron Judge right now would win the American League batting title, which would give him the Triple Crown. He's a point ahead of Bogarts of the Red Sox, who I think ultimately is going to end up winning it. Because I think there'll be no pressure on Bogarts at all. He's just going to go out. He's going to play. And I think Bogarts is going to prevent Judge from having the Triple Crown. Because he's got the home runs and the RBIs thing basically locked up. I mean, I don't know if he has to drive in another run. I think what he posts now, if he posted his home run and RBI total right now, I think it may hold up 15 games from now.
The best thing that Judge has going for him is the schedule. He's going to see, I believe he's going to see more pitches because there's no race to speak of. There's nothing to be, they're not chasing first in the American League. They're not chasing anything in the division. I actually think he's going to see more pitches down the stretch than he would have had there been something on the line here.
Well, all I know is he sees a ton of fastballs. Man, if he gets pitched in the postseason the way he's being pitched in the regular season, I'll just lose my mind. I'll be like, have you guys not been watching any of the highlights? He's hitting fastballs and hanging sliders. for all. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I've seen 2 curveball home runs this year by Judge.
And look, hanging sliders happen. If you make a mistake
Right.
on a slider and he hits
Right.
it out of the ballpark, so be it. You made a mistake on a pitch. But what I'm not going to do is make a mistake with a fastball that gets out over the plate where he can turn on it. Because if he turns on it, it's gone. I mean,
If he hits it 75%,
Right.
it's gone. Apparently, he has. Now, they've only been able to keep track of this for the last 16 years, about home run distance. They didn't keep track of it regularly until the mid-2000s. But he has the second largest number of 420-foot or more home runs. I believe 26 of his 60 home runs have been 420 feet or more.
I've said this before. I had the privilege to go to the 2017 Home Run Derby in Marlins Park with the roof closed. I've never seen anyone consistently smack the top of that roof. And that's not Tropicana, because Tropicana is a little lower than that one. That one is big.
Yeah, it's moonshots.
And he just knocked the roof.
And he has amazing power to right center field. Great opposite field power. And that's really the power alley at his home stadium. But so that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, FloridaSportsNetwork.com, and vote accordingly. There was a story we wanted to get to. We got Seth Everett coming up in about 10 minutes. So both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State ADs confirmed yesterday. The Athletic, I think, called them both and was like, hey, listen, is Bedlam dead? And they said, yeah. I mean, once we go to the SEC, yeah, it's dead. And so the Oklahoma AD, Joe Castiglione, he's like, well, there's some wiggle room here. We could still, it won't be easy. We could still make this work. And Oklahoma State's like, they're dead to us. There is no wiggle room. And they're trying to change the narrative when they're the ones that are ending this. And I will say, Mike Gundy, right? He said, let me take it from here yesterday. Gundy grabbed the mic and he just called out Oklahoma and he said, you all are playing into this. Okay. Can we stop talking about this? We all know what the story is. I mean, why did Texas and Texas A&M leave? One school got up and left the other. That's how these things happen. Why did Oklahoma and Nebraska stop happening? Come on. This isn't complicated, guys.
it's not complicated, and both schools are incredibly wrong here. Gundy's wrong. Oklahoma's wrong. I get they left the conference, and Oklahoma State's bent about this, and they should be. And I totally get it. But I don't know. Pay off whoever you have to pay off. Cancel games.
Now, did you see who Oklahoma State has canceled? Because Oklahoma State's schedule is apparently locked in for 15 years. Right. I'm just saying.
Yes, I understand that. But you can get out of these contracts. It might cost you some money. It can be done.
And see, that's to me. Now, I will say Oklahoma State apparently has got home and homes locked up with Oregon, Alabama.
I think Arizona State's on there.
I mean, you look at it and you go, huh, it's a good list. Well done, guys. All right. That if I was a season ticket holder, I'd be like, huh, hot damn. All right.
But I happen to be looking at the 2026 Oklahoma State football schedule, and they open at Tulsa. So they also have a home-and-home with Tulsa or a 2-for-1 with Tulsa. Cancel the damn game and play Bedlam. That's what your fans want. Do you think they're getting all jacked up because you're playing Murray State week 3?
Mark, they have to make sure that they get to a bowl every year. So we don't want to schedule also because they're convinced that they're going to have 9 conference games here, at least going forward. So, then if you already have one Power 5 school scheduled non-conference, if you schedule another one to force Oklahoma in, now we're at 11. I mean, we run the risk of too many losses. I'm with you, obviously. In fact, here's what I would say if I'm Oklahoma State. Tell you what, we want to continue Bedlam. We don't have the money that you're going to have. Not even close. All right. You pay our exit fees from breaking the contracts that we're going to have to break. We'll continue to play Bedlam.
I think that's a great proposal for Oklahoma State because now you throw everything in Oklahoma's court.
Well, right. And you say to them, hey, listen, guys, you are the reason that we're not playing. And you need us to break existing contracts.
And it's like 112 consecutive years of these teams playing. I think it's the second longest continuous rivalry in the sport.
Correct. And I would just say, tell you what, it's right here in the contracts. We'll have to buy our way out of all of them. All right. You pay the buyout. We'll keep playing you. Guaranteed.
I think Oklahoma would actually do it.
Be tricky, though, because also those games are locked in on certain dates. All right. I mean, it would be really tricky. Oklahoma would have to jump through hoops, and it would cost them $50 million. But if you want to keep playing.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Seth.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Ken, we are so blessed to have the wonderful Hillmeyer Tremont Foundation support. Dude, you don't run a Catholic school.
Morning.
Good morning, gents. A lot of funny stuff today, if you want.
Yeah, what do you got?
Well, we did text stream about the fact that last week over the Amazon game, I went to a sports bar and they didn't have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but it was on the sports bar.
I know. Oh, no, the whole thing was on the bar, but it harkens back to a conversation that we had about this DirecTV for Business, which I totally did a deep dive on after we had that conversation, and the sports bars don't know, and that's on them. You could talk about how baseball, iHeart reached out to me and asked me to cover the baseball playoffs.
Did you say yes?
We're going to have a meeting this morning. I'll do it.
Of course.
For money, I'll do it.
Of course.
If you won't, I will. Just give them my name, Seth. I really could use some extra cash.
Yeah. They reached out because the Mets and Yankees will both be in there.
Uh-huh.
So
yep,
they're kind of local, even though I tried to explain what the George Washington Bridge is like on a Tuesday afternoon, but
It's called mass transit, Seth. Take the
oh,
train to Penn Station. You can take the train to either place.
And you get home at 3 a.m.
It's tough. It's tough. You don't have that Alabama sports report anymore, do you?
No. So that was funny. Yeah,
that's right. We were having fun earlier with I poked fun at the fact that Friday's Yankees game's on Apple TV, and I'm hoping that's
that's funny.
That Judge hits both 61 and 60.
Nobody sees it.
Right.
That's funny. Yeah, we that's funny. Chris Rose did Sports with Friends, and he has some interesting theories on the marketing of baseball, which I found fascinating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. There's just a ton.
Chris Rose called me the whitest person he'd ever heard.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. So
I think we have him. That was at Super Bowl, or we had Chris Rose on a lot.
We were in studio when we did it.
Yeah.
When that happened, okay, we were in studio.
It's funny.
I forgot what like hip hop reference David made or something coming out of a break, and it was, I mean, it was so milk toast.
But not okay. I thought, okay, like was it Lil Kim?
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne. All right.
Lil Wayne.
And I said
Little.
No, I didn't say it that blatantly. I didn't.
Little
okay, but I was trying. I tried and I failed.
How long ago? How long ago?
This is 10 years ago.
Yeah,
10,
12 years ago.
Because we used to have him on. I mean, we used to have Chris on semi-regularly.
I think Chris had just stopped doing. He was only a few years removed from doing the Best Damn Sports Show, period.
Oh, okay. So a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, this was.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
He was great. And he's going to come back, and he's got this new deal with John Boy, and he's doing some interesting podcasts, and so we can talk about that, and that's why we had him on. John Boy reached out to me.
I heard he's making more with John Boy than he was making with MLB Network.
Well, he's out at MLB Network.
Oh, I know. I just said.
Oh, he's making more. Yeah. Yeah. He still does NFL.
By the way, answer the question on Twitch. I finally watched Thor: Love and Thunder. What'd you think of Bale?
Christian Bale, it was good. What I'd like to ask Christian Bale is he said he would never do another superhero movie unless the script was fantastic. Was that the movie that got him to do another superhero movie?
That script was not fantastic.
Thank you.
The movie was very mid, like everything Marvel's putting out these days.
I'm going down a quantum leap rabbit hole, and it's just going to wreak havoc with my week.
The new show?
Well, I watched the new show, but then when I went to Peacock to watch the new show,
Going back,
I saw
sorry,
an
guys.
advertisement for the old show, and now I'm in.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour, the final hour for Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete. 1070 The Zone, which carries us between Port Charlotte and Venice, and we thank them for that. Seth Everett's kind enough to join us this week at this time, as he does damn near every week at this time. You know Seth, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. You're wearing an Arsenal t-shirt today?
You know it, baby.
Did not
Top
realize
of the table.
That. Did not
Top
realize
of the table.
That was your team of choice. Did not realize that.
My wife has family members who are Arsenal season ticket holders, so I kind of inherited them, which is how people inherit their sports teams these days.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, that's how I think it's handed down from generation to generation. You have to be the bold one, right, in the family, Mark.
Right.
Like you were the one in the family who said no to the Lions.
I'm probably the only one.
Right. Everybody else still the Lions,
Yeah.
and you just said, "No, I'm sorry, I can't do that one with you."
Right. So when I was going to embrace this sport that I had heard so much about, of course I was going to check out the team that my wife's family is, engrossed in.
Can I ask one more question about this?
Sure.
Do you have any idea what those tickets cost?
No, I've been promised that if I get out there, I can go to a game. We have not had the conversation, but season tickets for
Yeah.
years and years and years, I don't know what they cost.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I
whether or
don't know.
not that's a staggeringly costly item, or whether or not because they've been a season ticket holder for, 30, 40 years, that maybe, they get a good rate. I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's all.
Fair enough. Seth, we've been talking a little bit about this whole Sinclair networks and leagues buying, and it comes right to what you've been talking about with streaming. The part of the crux of this is MLB and their streaming rights and what they want to do, and Sinclair owning some of the streaming rights. I'm just curious of how much of this story you followed, and if you think MLB buying the Bally sports properties is a good thing for MLB.
Well, what I wonder is it going to be a partnership? Like the way I read it was that, the NBA is involved and the NHL is involved as well. How much is baseball's investment? They have the most content. So would they have the most investment? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I think we're all headed to this situation where if me as the cord cutter, if I want to live in the New York metropolitan area and see Yankee games, I should be able to. That's very simple. I shouldn't have to lie and cheat and borrow a password and do all these different things, or VPN my computer and pretend I'm in, Oklahoma, just to do all these things, just to see, the Yankees play the Pirates on a Wednesday night. It doesn't all add up. And so what I think will happen is eventually the leagues are trying to get out from underneath this because they want to own and recreate this online package, kind of like the Nesson model. The Nesson model where if you live in Boston, you can buy Nesson and you don't have to have cable to do it. I think that's where we're all headed.
Well, then what's interesting though about that is it leads to is the same thing going to happen to ESPN one day? And then how much is it worth? Like, I mean, think about, I believe, isn't Nesson $19.99 a month?
Yeah,
in
it's
Boston?
expensive. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
expensive.
I'm right. But basically Nesson's looking at Red Sox Nation going, seriously, you're going to tell me your team's not worth $20 a month? And
right.
but
no commitment. Right, but no commitment means that if my Red Sox are in last place, I cancel it for that month.
Well, exactly. Okay, but Nesson is banking on the fact that you watch your team, particularly if you're a baseball fan, you watch them whether they're good or not.
And the Bruins, right? And
right.
The Bruins.
And I mean, think, Mark, we all have our favorite teams. And I mean, this, by the way, goes all, and I don't know how many people find this interesting, but we can go back 35, 37 years. This goes all the way back to the mid 80s. ESPN was hemorrhaging money the first 5 to 7 years of their existence. And ESPN had basically a major staff meeting in which they said, why are we paying the cable companies? They need us.
Yeah.
People want us on cable. They need to pay us. And when ESPN looked the cable companies dead in the eye and said, no, you're going to pay us $2 a month. And the cable company said, yeah, drop dead. And ESPN said, yeah, tell your customers you've got cable and no ESPN and tell me how your business is going. And ESPN won. Well, now, 2 generations later, we've got the irony of the sports teams are going to take themselves off of cable, if you will, and go a la carte, and then look at us, the fan, and go, really? You don't want to pay $20 a month, huh? For your favorite team? Really? Okay. We'll be sitting here waiting for your call.
It'll be fascinating to see, just where this all goes. I mean, it's going to have a streaming component. I don't think it threatens ESPN as much, simply because the ESPN packages that they sell are for nationally televised games. These are just for regional games. So I think there's a difference there. I think the contract for the Big Ten shows, what they spent, what CBS, NBC, and Fox spent for the Big Ten rights transcends all of that. And I think that what they will say, anybody who works in college football will say, Oh, you want to show a Pirates Indians game or a Pirates Guardians game on a Wednesday night in August? Have fun with that. We get 7 times your rating.
All right, Seth. Amazon Prime got going with football last week. I know there were some lip sync problems for some people. You had problems where you went because the bar didn't know what they were doing. But all in all, it seemed as if it went okay.
I just thought the irony. I think I've been to my first sports bar in about 17 years, and I happened to go just to see a friend who was in town, at the airport, on a 24-hour layover. And I just happened to literally go into a sports bar on the premiere of the Amazon Prime game, and they had no idea that it was on Amazon Prime. And they had a football game on, and it was a NFL Network replay of the previous week's Monday night game, the Seahawks and the Broncos. And I said, those lime green uniforms, the Chiefs don't wear lime green. And I literally was like, am I going down this path? Like, am I this guy? I couldn't believe that I happened to have been in a sports bar. But yeah, I thought it was a rousing success. The broadcast, from what I heard, I saw the second half, the idea that it's a top flight broadcast and that there really isn't any complaints. And what I'm planning on looking at this week is the multiple screens. I want to see the different audio feeds, and I just want to see what the presentation is. I'm curious for the whole thing.
Well, and Seth, the one comment that we got from those that put multiple screens up was how they were all in sync, and they found that remarkable because they can't get that when they do it with other networks and other sports. That
I wasn't even talking about that. Yeah, no, that's great. I was just talking about flipping from the A feed to the B feed to the C feed to the D feed on one television. I wasn't talking about multiple screens. I don't care about the Pittsburgh Steelers that much.
No, but it is nice. I mean, when I watch the Manning cast versus Monday Night Football, I would rather, by the time Monday comes, Seth, I'm ready to listen to Eli and Peyton have some fun. I've had enough football. I was a little intrigued by the first Buck Aikman broadcast because it's new for Monday Night Football. Wanted to see how they started it. But other than that, by the time Monday comes, I'm ready for the Manning cast because I'm having a little fun. Well, and I've got 2 screens. I put them up there. They're not in sync. And it drives me crazy that they're running a couple seconds off of one another. But it is what it is. And, the same thing happens. A lot of people trying to do, obviously now with HD and radio, trying to sync up your favorite college broadcast.
The Buck Aikman thing just sounded big. And the first time in a long time that Monday Night Football seemed like an event. It felt like an event. And just listening to those two guys.
Quick tangent yesterday, and Seth, I don't know if you liked it or brought it up on, Sports with Friends, text stream, anything. But, the whole 2 NFL games at, kind of sort of the same time Monday night. And most of us did not like it. All right. We would rather the games be separate. ESPN did really well. I mean, in fact, they said
because you split your audience.
Well, but they, what's ESPN after? They're after a total number. And they were boasting that at the same time for an hour and 15, hour and a half, they actually had more people watching them this Monday night than they had the previous Monday night.
Right, but if you're going to do split games on different channels, then compare it to the 1 o'clock window on CBS and Fox.
I understand.
They trounced you. They trounced you. So that's fine. You can spew numbers any way you want.
Right. But Seth, what we were wondering is, first off, is this being driven by the league or is this being driven by Disney? And we think it's being driven by Disney. So we thought the ratings, therefore, would be important because potentially they're doing this 3 times next year, not just once. Ugh. So some of us were hoping that the ratings would not be good. And then maybe they'd go, oh, well, maybe this is not a good idea. Well, they sent out a press release midday yesterday boasting that at one point in time, they had over 21 million people watching football on their channels, as opposed to the week before when they only had 19.
Which I think is about half of the 1 o'clock. I mean, just a little more than half of the 1 o'clock number, because I thought it was in the 38 million for the 1 o'clock. I mean, the football numbers right now are through the roof.
Skyrocketing. It's unbelievable.
Even the Friday night Florida State game did nearly 3 million viewers. It's like the highest rated Friday night game ESPN's had in 10 years.
It'll be eclipsed by Virginia Syracuse this Friday night. I'll be watching.
Seth's back being a college football fan, ladies and gentlemen, because Syracuse
Orange are
about to be
3-0.
4-0, right?
By the way, you guys asked earlier, what are those Arsenal tickets like? Cheapest tickets, €300. So $297.50.
Ooh.
Oh, but that's for a match against Liverpool, so that's a good game.
Yes, it is. Seth, you have a guest on Sports with Friends this week, which we have a little history with.
Friend of yours, yeah. Yeah, the great Chris Rose, formerly of Fox Sports, formerly of MLB Network. He hosted a show with another mutual friend of ours, Kevin Millar, and he did that for 10 years. He's still at NFL Network, and he's doing some interesting podcasts for John Boy Media. The interesting thing about it is one of them's called the Chris Rose Rotation, and what he has is six major leaguers rotating to do a podcast. And these guys, during the season, Trevor May of the Mets is one of them. The idea, he claims that if you got to know these MLB players, they are fascinating. And he thought players that, from 20 years ago when I started covering the sport were jerks. And I disagreed. And I told him that on the podcast. I thought the guys that I covered were brilliant, and they became some of my dearest friends. But he says that those players exist now, and baseball does not understand how to convey that to the public. So he feels that with John Boy, what he's doing is he's saying, Tyler Glasnow is a really cool guy. You should get to know him, and I'm giving you a vehicle to do so. I think the venture is very admirable, and I'm interested to see where it goes. I've listened, and I still couldn't pick these guys out of a lineup.
I'm just trying to figure out what the hell John Boy Media is.
It's a company. It's a multimedia company. They are the guys who uncovered the Astros cheating scandal. Remember, they were the ones who isolated the video so you could hear the garbage cans, and they got claim to fame. They're trying to be like a Barstool Light without the misogyny. How's that?
All right, fair enough.
That's the best way to describe them.
Good luck.
They seem very nice. They want to work with my podcast, with guests and things like that. He's also doing a weekly show with CJ Uzoma of the Jets, which again, a current player doing a podcast during a season. I mean, these guys are creating their own media, and that's where we're all headed. Yeah.
All right, we've got 30 seconds. All right.
Hall of Justice is very interesting. It's a Newhouse professor, a guy who's a professor of pop culture, Bob Thompson. You've seen him on the Today Show. You've seen him on all the CNN entertainment documentaries. We're doing a course on the evolution of the superhero genre, from Linda Carter and Lou Ferrigno to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How did we get here? It's a really cool conversation.
Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Seth, congratulations on Syracuse having a college football team this year, and we'll talk again next week.
Sean Tucker, Heisman, we'll have the conversation.
Yeah.
Where's Bud Elliott?
We'll pass it along.
We'll make sure we get that information to him, Seth.
For the record, Seth, and thanks so much. I believe Bud is taking Syracuse and laying the number this week while it's still small enough. Seth Everett joining us here on Miller and Moulton. For those leaving us, have a great rest of your day. For those of you in the 239, the bonus hour's next.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth. that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Eddie Vedder in that thing, he tells us just something must have been going on. So he tell a little story. He goes, I've got this been hanging with me for 30 years. He goes, we were 92. He goes, he's telling the story about being on the road. And, we were kind of all losing our minds, getting excited to do now, but we're going to end a tour. We got another one starting in 6 days. We're all kind of losing our minds. We're all breaking down. And I'm sitting there yelling at a manager about something in an airport. And this girl comes up to me. Eddie, I don't mean to bother you. And I went, then don't. 30 years I've lived with that. So if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Mark.
I love that.
Mark, I think you would love John Boy.
I'm sorry, what?
I actually think you would love John Boy Media. He just breaks down anytime anything happens. That's like,
I knew what it was, but when you're talking John Boy Media, we're on a radio show. I'm guessing 80% of our audience had no clue what he was talking about.
Right, gotcha.
So that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, but the video that I texted you, it's one of my favorites. So funny.
There's a lot of baseball guys. I don't know how much I'd love John Boy Media because I don't love baseball. I don't even like baseball.
What? You don't like baseball?
Not really. I think the sport's pathetic to watch right now. I'm in Seth's camp. I've watched more baseball this year than I've watched in 5 years. It's a tough watch. I watch it because I have to.
Yeah.
And I actually like the Rays broadcast, believe it or not. I like their TV guys.
I listen to them on the radio sometimes. Or like on the weekends.
I was just making sure it wasn't the John Boy and Billy show, Adam. And I agree with you, Bop and Jake, but I don't think it's, without the ball in play, again, it's not as good. I'm with you, RCB. I like them both. It's just it's an enjoyable listen. I can watch a Rays game. I've kind of gotten to where I like them more than the Marlins. Maybe it's an American League thing that I don't know. Well played, Jake.
Coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour on this hump day. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Poll question. Judge hit his 60th last night. What do you think of this story? It's going to set the American League record at some point over the next 15 days. 2 weeks from today, by the way, is when the Major League Baseball season ends. Always used to end on a Sunday. That is not the case anymore. Ending on a Wednesday, and they will take 1 day to have teams travel to where it is they are supposed to travel, and then the best of 3 playoff series will start immediately on the Friday. So 2 weeks today is when the season ends. Day off, and then the 2 best of 3 series will take place in each league Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they're hoping all the series are 2-0 sweeps because they don't want to go head-to-head with the NFL. But
what a concession they're making to do this on the weekend. I know it could spur attendance, but you think it's the playoffs. That shouldn't be a problem in any of these cities to sell out games with the exception of Tampa.
And the football ratings right now are terrific. Terrific. I mean, Penn State Auburn did 4 million. 4 million, but pre-pandemic, 4 million was the line in the sand that you drew in which you're like, man, who could we put on to get 4 million? That was considered a good, solid audience. Can we get, and I'm talking 3:30 SEC on CBS, 4 million. I'm not talking the other time slots. The other time slots they needed something dramatic to be able to get 4 million people to watch them. Okay. And so 41-12, Penn State over Auburn averaged over 4 million viewers. Now, it was not a great Saturday of games. All right. CBS benefited from, there was not great competition at 3:30 going up against it.
But Notre Dame, when the game starts, Notre Dame's struggling with Cal.
Right. And it is Notre Dame. Right. I know. 41-12.
Right.
Now, CBS got lucky. It was only 14-6 at the half. So at least it carried in. But that's how good the ratings are. We mentioned it with Seth Everett a moment ago. The Friday night Florida State-Louisville game. Very well rated Friday night. High 2 millions, like 2.75 million it averaged. It's a big Friday night number for the 4-letter network. Big. I mean, highest in years that game did. It was Florida State-Louisville.
And I'll tell you what, Florida-Tennessee, if it's any kind of game, we'll get a really good number Saturday. It will.
Oh, there's a reason the game was chosen. Oh, they know. And Gator fan, you okay being an 11-point underdog? Or are you worried? Or are you like, damn, We're an 11-point underdog. This could get ugly.
Yeah, I've got to think Gator fan has had a hell of a September.
Yeah.
The joy of that Utah win and the way they did it, and they think they have a Heisman Trophy candidate on Monday morning.
We're going to beat Kentucky. We're going to be 3-0 going to Tennessee.
Then you lose to Kentucky. Your quarterback doesn't look very good, and South Florida might have just run for another first down against you.
Kind of sort of outplayed you in the second half. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now here you are. Last year, you were 16-point favorite in this game. This year, a year later, you're an 11-point dog. Damn.
And the other part of this is, as much as they enjoyed the Utah game, since then, what's Florida not been able to do? They're not very consistent on offense. They're not running a lot of plays. The receivers can't get open. Richardson's not hitting them. So you know what they are on offense, David? They're a touch boring right now. You amplify that with losing a game against Kentucky, that gets the Florida Gator fan, well, a little restless, to say the very least.
Now, Gator fan, I am not taking shots here, like Buried in Bourbon in our Twitch chat room. Okay, clearly a Gator fan, all right, with 3 quick, comments. It's like, whoa, hold on a second, just point out the facts. And as he pointed out, Kirby's first year at Georgia was rough. It was a 7-5 regular season, and then they won a bowl game to go 8-5. Yeah, and for the record, that was my pick for Florida this year, was 7. I didn't think they'd beat Utah. I thought if you got out of September 2-2, it'd be a pretty good month. In fact, I thought if you got out of the Georgia game 4-4, you'd be like, okay, well, November's the month where, we could win 3 of these 4. Hell, we could win 4 out of these 4. I thought the first 2 months would be rough. But wow, what are they? Are they 15 out of 16 or 16 out of 17? I think it's 16 out of 17 since Urban in 2005, because Urban never lost to Tennessee. So I think Zook's last year he lost to him in 2004. So since 2005, which means they're 16-1, Mark, in their last 17 meetings against Tennessee.
And here's Tim on Facebook says, I think they will get beat by more than that, and I'm a Gators fan. The Gator fan willing to lay the points. 16-1 in the last 17?
Yeah, 2016.
And you're an 11-point dog.
I was at that game, too, in 2016, that celebration when Tennessee finally beat Florida. They'd lost 11 in a row. The year before, they had Florida beat Will Grier through the 2 late touchdown passes, the last one on 4th and 13 or whatever. They beat them in the final minute in the swamp. Tennessee was devastated. Florida jumped out to like a 24-3 lead against the Vols in 2016. And the Vols came all the way back and beat them. And that place went crazy. It made me think of, remember the famous 98 night game when Tennessee won in overtime, Florida missed the kick in OT, and they partied in Knoxville because they finally beat Spurrier and the Gators. All right. I obviously I was not at that game. All right. But when Tennessee beat Florida in 2016 and the way they celebrated, you were like, oh, okay. So now I kind of have an idea of what it kind of meant 18 years ago, because you haven't beaten them many times in between. All right. Now I got it. Okay. So I remember watching that game on TV going, man, they're celebrating like they won the national championship. It's, what the hell? It just seemed crazy to me. I'm sitting in Fargo, North Dakota going, it's a big game and all, but come on. It's September. What are we doing?
Texter just simply says, and this is the Gators fan that I love, Tennessee will find a way to choke like they have for the past decade. Go Gators. That's the Gator fan quite frankly, that's the Gator fan that I know. The right. Gator fan carries arrogance with him. And I'm not trying, this is not a shot.
No.
The Florida fan has always walked with their chest puffed out a little bit that we're better than you. Period. End of sentence. And I've been surprised that there haven't been more text and comments like that. But they're going to need a really good performance. They are going to need to slow the game down to a snail's pace, and they are going to need to be able to run the damn ball. The running backs are good enough. That, to me, is the game. And I will be curious because Bud Elliott is convinced that Richardson's hurt, that he's injured. And they have to run him in this game. And I know they have no depth and they can't take a chance of getting him hurt. But I don't see a recipe for them to win this game unless they run the ball incredibly effectively with their quarterback as well.
As a gentleman in our Twitch chat room said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Muschamp beat Tennessee every time when he was coach? Yes, Adam, he did. And think about Florida had a couple of teams. Didn't they have a 4-win season 1 year under Muschamp? And the year I thought Tennessee was going to end the streak was 2014 in Knoxville. Florida went there, by the way, unranked. And I think that was the year they had Murphy at quarterback. And they got out of there with a 10-9 win in 2014. But here's another reason why it was so tough, to beat Florida. For when the streak started, this is what Florida was ranked when they played Tennessee. 6th, 6th, 3rd, 4th, 1st, 10th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and then 2 years in a row unranked. They had 1-point wins in 2014 and 2015. 2015 was the Will Grier game. And then amazingly, like a week later, he's the only person in the last 8 years in college football that took steroids.
He completely took down the Gator program all by himself.
Right. And he's the only player in college football in the last 7 years that any of us know of that failed a steroid test. Will Grier.
Right.
Only one. It was amazing. Remarkable. Then, even more remarkable now. So, last 3 years that Florida's won when they've played Tennessee. They've been ranked 9th, 6th, and 11th. By the way, during this streak, you know how many times Tennessee was ranked? Yeah, 5. 5 times Tennessee was ranked during that 17-year period. So the Gators have been ranked damn near every year. Tennessee's been ranked 5 times. And now Florida's technically ranked.
Right. They're a ranked 11-point dog.
One of the two is off, right?
Correct.
Either the ranking or the spread. You would think, right?
Absolutely. Well, obviously, if they don't cover, they're not in the rankings anymore. That's pretty safe to say. So we'll find out.
Very intrigued. Very intrigued by the game. One of the two, because first off, it's so difficult it's easy to imagine Florida blowing out Tennessee. We've seen it a few times in the last generation. We haven't seen Florida blown out by Tennessee. And right now, the feeling is if any team's going to get whacked, it's going to be Florida.
I'm trying to think of the last time Tennessee whooped an opponent in a game where you were, not a Vandy.
Right.
But where Tennessee
team
went in and whooped somebody.
Right. Really whooped them. Even Butch Davis, he got Florida and Georgia in the same year one time. But he didn't annihilate either team. He just beat them.
You look at all their games against ranked opponents and you try to see where Tennessee's had the big game. It has not happened. And it leaves a lot of doubt on how it happened Saturday. They're an 11-point favorite against the Gators. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka, The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Just like, well, it's their defense. The 2-point conversions. What football game did you watch, dude? It's the fourth quarter in the NFL. If we've not gotten to the point where teams' defenses are dead in the fourth quarter, I don't care what game it is. You're up 20-0. You put that damn thing in the barn. That's not on the defense. Not to me, at least. Now,
And Adam, I haven't heard of anybody decommitting from the Gators. In fact, Napier can make the argument with all the guys that have committed to them. See, this is why we need you, and you can
you're going to play right away. Got that right. If I say Joseph Mazzello to you, do you know who that is?
No.
Okay. He's an actor. Like, you've looked at the same thing, when they're like highlighted and there's a picture.
Right.
I think that they're kind of important. And
Right. So now, but then again, if I saw his picture, maybe I'd know who he is.
right. But this is when I do this though. But if you don't know, like,
Now is he? But if you then
he's
said
39.
If you said though, it's Joseph Mazzella.
He was in the Pacific and Jurassic Park. Does nothing for me.
Right.
Jason Derulo makes more sense to me than him. I knew that was.
Hopefully this will be the game that causes the Gator fan to put their Gator crap back in a box in the garage. Well, I guess we know where you're coming from, Johnny Mac. I don't know. How in the world could you cover Tyreek Hill one-on-one? How? Felipe, you know why we have zone defenses? You know why the zone was invented?
Like in the NBA?
No. Sorry,
Oh.
football.
Why?
Bob Hayes was the fastest man alive, won the gold medal in the 100 meters, okay, and then went to play football from Jacksonville, by the way, and the Cowboys signed him. And he obviously ran by everybody. And so somebody had to come up with a defense, and so that's how zone defenses were invented, because of Bob Hayes.
Wow.
Bullet Bob Hayes, as fast as a speeding bullet.
Wow. How long ago was that?
It was in the 60s. I forget. It might have been the 60 Olympics, I thought it was, that he won his gold medals.
And they were the Dallas Cowboys in the 60s.
In fact, 1960, I believe, was their first year.
Okay. Interesting. Do you know what is the only NFL team to never change their logo?
Only NFL team to never change
The
their
Cowboys.
logo.
Cowboys had slight changes. Like the
Browns.
silver outlet. No. They had that goblin elf thing.
No,
It's never been their logo.
Well, that was their logo like in the 50s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Wait, who?
Steelers.
No.
Who?
Texans.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts. All coming up in about 20 minutes' time. Sorry I couldn't help you out yesterday at this time.
Oh, that's quite all right.
It's the first time I've ever done that. In all 15 years we've been doing the show. It's the first time really I think either one of us has ever
Left early.
bailed on the other.
Well, in the olden days, if we want to, reveal a few state secrets.
No. But we
left early.
We did. Right.
When we did afternoons, Pat Kerwin was on 3 to 7 then, like he's on 3 to 7 now.
Correct.
So it was difficult to get Pat on the show live.
Correct.
So we were doing 2 to 6 then?
I believe so.
Doing 2 to 6, and we would play Pat in our 5 o'clock hour.
Yes, we would.
So we would come in at 1 o'clock and record the entire 5 o'clock hour.
Right.
And leave at 5 o'clock on Fridays.
And at the time, I think we just did the good, bad, and ugly, I think. So we had a short final segment. So we would interview Pat.
For 2 segments.
And then, and I think we did 4 segments an hour at that point in time. And so then we had like a one, segment. Hey, Friday night, I think we made picks even. I think we recorded our picks.
That's right.
And then, final segment, we do like good, bad, and ugly and what have you. And we'd have it recorded from 5 to 6. And the funny thing was on Wednesdays, I would then record the high school football show with Dan DeLuca, which ran from 6 to 7. So, so there'd be 2 hours taped that would run from 5 to 7 every Friday.
Right. My goal was always to get out of here and try to get to whatever watering hole I was going to, so that people would walk in that I knew that were listening to the show and walk in, and I'd be sitting at the bar and get that, what the hell are you doing here?
Well, I know you and I used to enjoy when we'd be stuck at a traffic light. All right. And we could hear that somebody is listening to us. And if by chance they would recognize us, they then would like look at their radio and look at us and look at the radio and look at us, But eventually people figured out, now hold on a second. If they're talking to Pat Kerwin and he's on at the same time, I don't think this is live. But I had to bail on you. Because just the way the flights worked out, there aren't as many flights as there used to be. And if I didn't get on this one flight, which was around 11:30, I wasn't going to get home until 11 o'clock at night. And
Don't worry, Felipe was very happy. Got a lot of airtime.
and so I had to bail on the final hour yesterday.
Oh, but we were actually asking a question about you. When you were done or before the show started, did you have everything packed and ready to go? So as soon as 8:55 came and you were off, you just picked up your stuff and left?
All my clothes and everything, that suitcase was done. So the only thing I had to pack was the equipment.
Right.
Yeah. 9:04, I was downstairs in the car.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Efficient.
Very good.
Well, major city traffic, you don't know what you're going to get. The flight was 11:15. If everything went properly, I knew, everything would have gone fine. But if I stayed and there was any kind of traffic, because in a major city, I mean, you could put it in park for a while. And I'm like, I can't miss this flight.
Well, the airport in Philly, it's outside of the city,
Yeah. And trust me, I'm well aware. But, it's almost 20 minutes. That's if there's no traffic.
Do you ever get the impression that Philly thinks that you and I have never left
No,
anywhere?
just ask.
You're on a plane every week.
I do have. I'll tell you what, Felipe, I've traveled so much. I actually now in like 3 different airlines have quote unquote status. Yes.
Meanwhile,
now I will say a lot of people now that have status. I mean, I might be able to get into like the Comfort Plus section. I mean, that's how much quote unquote status I've achieved.
I do love it. I think it's Delta now, where when you get out, and it's been a while, and I've not flown Delta in a while, but they used to have the different groups
you
were in.
Oh yeah.
And group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. I think 5, 6, 7 was the last. And I'm always buying the cheap ticket, so I'm always buried at the end of it. And it is what it is. But they would always start with, anybody who needs special assistance and those things.
Oh, that's pre-boarding. Thank you.
They get the pre-boarding.
Then there's first class.
Then they go to if you're a Delta Mosaic, if you're a Delta this, if you're a Delta that, if you're a Delta this, that, or the other. There's about 47 different classifications of Delta.
Thank you. I've got the credit card. I'm a gold. It says I'm like gold medallion elite. I'm still only in like the 4th best club.
Right.
Oh yeah. And that's not even counting pre-boarding or if you're in the military. If you're older and you need help, if you got kids, or if you're in the military, well, then you're all first. Then it's first.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
As well it should be.
Totally. All right. Then there's first class. And then there's Comfort Medallion, which leads to Comfort Plus, which leads to Sky. Okay. And I got to admit, it is the Seinfeld episode. By the time they get to the rest of us, you feel as if you're like, well, wow, we're just pieces of blank.
Oh, there is no doubt. It is the one thing I've noticed that last time I flew Delta, I'm like, I am nothing more than a speck on the bottom of a shoe to this people. They hate me.
I mean, trust, I know what I paid for this ticket. I mean, come on, I got to be worth a little something for the effort, right?
I mean, herd me up on Southwest where I just get a number and a letter and a number, and I'm basically the same as everybody else. I'm an A, I'm a B, I'm a C, whatever the case may be.
So that's what was going on yesterday.
I haven't flown on a plane since before the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you're not alone. Not alone. And I think my mom's only been on one flight, and she did so reluctantly.
And I kind of wish that wasn't the case because flights were ridiculously cheap.
There were a lot of things that were a little cheaper not too long ago, Felipe.
They really were.
Yeah.
They were probably flights were ridiculously cheap too when mom and dad were paying for them for you.
I could have, oh my God, I would have paid for them $35 to go to New York, for example. Granted, you get there and, can't do much, but whatever.
Well, then there's Spirit. Okay. There's still $35, but you're not allowed to bring anything else, including your wallet. All right. I don't even know if you're allowed to carry that on the plane.
They charge you for it. That's for sure.
Miller and Moulton here on this hump day. I didn't bring it up with Seth, and I should have. I know I brought it up earlier in the show, but this could be just one of those weeks that we look back on. We've got Steelers on a Thursday night, okay? And for as popular as Mahomes and the Chiefs are, they ain't the Steelers. The Steelers are on Thursday Night Football. All those Steelers fans have had a week to get it in their heads.
It's the perfect fan base, too.
Yep.
Because, as we've talked about, in the market, you get to watch the game. So all the Yinzers are fine in the greater Pittsburgh area. But anybody that's watched a Steeler game on the road knows that, hell, anywhere between 25 and 50% of the crowd at most of these games is a Steeler crowd. They are everywhere. And if they don't have Amazon Prime, they're not watching. I actually think Thursday night could be a decent sports bar night across the country.
I hope so, because it made no impact at the local watering hole that I went to on Thursday. They looked around. They said, yeah, I don't know if we have an extra customer tonight because Amazon, which was disappointing. I was hoping it would be a boon for the sports bar.
But there are a lot of Browns fans and a lot of Steelers fans
There are.
who live outside the markets of Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
You know, that's true. And you had said last week that I don't think in Southwest Florida we should judge it with the Chiefs and the Chargers. Now, this week, we got the Steelers and the Browns. This would be a week in which we see locally, Mark, tomorrow night, does this make an impact? But Thursday Night Football on Amazon Thursday night, and unless Judge, which goodness knows could happen in his first two at-bats tonight, but, I mean, would it be crazy to think that he's still at 60 come Friday? At which point the Yankees will be on Apple TV. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Let's tell you what, though, they're ignoring it.
Oh, I know. But the outside's starting to really.
Who was it yesterday who tweeted? Was it T.O.? The T.O. tweet? That was a hell of a tweet.
I think it was T. Or it was either or he liked a tweet that was talked about him. But yeah, I just.
Oh! I'm sorry. Did you see that throw?
I'm sorry, which was it?
It was Brady's touchdown to the back corner of the end zone against the Saints. I'll take the Pat and I we'll battle all year on this one. I'll take the Bucs. Hold on a second, Klecko. Why would Bubba Watson and Sergio Garcia not play the Masters? What has happened in the last 24 hours that I missed? Why would anyone who's a past champion at the Masters not play the Masters? Yeah, dead struck. That was pointed out that Tyrod Taylor suing. That doctor's the one that's treating Herbert. Yes. The real question is, are any of the majors going to not let the LIV golfers play? And I don't think they will. I think the LIV is going to be on Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Mega Millions came forward.
Oh, really?
CBS Chicago. Mega Millions winner comes forward. 2 people will split $1.3 billion.
Good. I was just getting worried that somebody was actually like,
And it's anonymous. They don't have to share it in Illinois. No one's going to know who they are, which
Great.
I think should be the law.
I agree completely. Depends on the state, unfortunately.
I know.
Klecko, who's the PGA Tour player that's going to make it tense outside of Tiger? Because you got to remember, Rory's not allowed in the same locker room as Phil, Bubba, and Sergio. He hasn't won that tournament. He's not in the champions locker room. I mean, Scotty Scheffler's not going to make it tense. Justin Thomas is not allowed in that locker room. Tiger's not going to make it tense. Tiger doesn't talk to most of those guys anyway.
Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Before we get to good, bad, and ugly, what's on tap today was the day when we were just having a little golf discussion during the commercial break with some of our Twitch chat room viewers and listeners. And Tiger came up. Did you hear what Nota Begay said yesterday about Tiger?
I did not.
There aren't a lot of people that know Tiger better
Right.
who have a microphone very much at their disposal. Nota was a college teammate of his. They were President's Cup teammates. They're very good friends. And even though Nota had to retire early because of injuries, been a member of the media really for about 15 years. Tiger and he are still very close, even though Noda has had to comment about Tiger the whole time. It's part of his job. Noda said Tiger's practicing 1 to 2 hours a day. He goes, got to remember, it's a pain tolerance thing. And he goes, not a lot of people I know can put up with pain like Tiger. And he goes, so I know he's practicing. He goes, minimum an hour, as much as 2. And he said, I may be crazy, but remember, Noda was the first one to say, hey, Tiger, when Tiger still was really good and looked great.
Right.
Noda was the first one to go, he may look great, but that's an old body. He's had a lot go wrong. He's had a lot of, and this was before Tiger started to physically really falter. Never mind the accident. So Noda's told the truth about Tiger, as much as anybody for quite a while. And Noda said, call me crazy, I still think he can get another win. He goes, might not be a major. He goes, the number may stay at 15. He goes, but there's a part of me that thinks he can win a tournament to break the record that he's tied with Sam Snead with for all-time PGA Tour wins.
Take a lot of things from that. The thing that I take from that is he might play more tournaments than you and I thought he was going to play. That's what I get out of that.
Right.
You and I said it's the majors and maybe a tournament.
Because he just physically won't be able to play.
So this gives me the impression we may see more Tiger. You take the Live Tour and what's going on, and Tiger having these meetings. If he can play, maybe Tiger is going to try to do the tour yet another solid.
Well, and the other thing that I took out of it was, let's be honest, and don't, for those that like the PGA Tour and hate the LIV series, don't bang on me here. But a couple of these events that the PGA Tour has created are what? They're a little more limited field. And Noda basically is like, I think he can put 3 days together again. 3-4 days. He goes, I think he can do it. And I think he's going to want to do it. And I thought to myself, I wonder if it'll be one of these, I don't think we'll ever see him play the match play again. It'd be 6 matches over 4 days. I don't think he'll ever play in that again, but So I thought Noda's comments were interesting. A, what you picked up on right away. And then what I'm thinking of going, well, you cut one of these 144-man fields down to 60. And now all of a sudden, even though if they're the quote unquote top players, as we've talked about, let's face it, PGA Tour, there's so much talent on the PGA Tour that you could be the 105th best player in the field. You can win that week. You happen to roll it that week, you can win.
Right. And we all know that man can roll it.
Right. So I thought that was interesting. Noda yesterday talking about Tiger. Really? Okay. All right. We'll hold you to that.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1915 when Cecil Chubb buys Stonehenge for 6,600 pounds. Apparently bought it for the love of his wife. He gave it to the British government 3 years later.
That's it?
That's it.
Stopped loving her 3 years later?
He donated it. Maybe she was done with him. You never know. 1934, the St. Louis Cardinals' Dean brothers shut out Brooklyn in a doubleheader. Dizzy goes 13-0 in a rout. Brother Paul goes 3-0 with a no-hitter. 1937, Tolkien's The Hobbit is published. 1955, in his last fight, Rocky Marciano KOs Archie Moore in the 9th round at Yankee Stadium. 1957, the Perry Mason TV series debuts on CBS TV. Love me some Perry Mason. Said it to you before the show. We should limit everybody to 3-4 channels so they all have to watch the same things. We'd all get along better. 1968 Adam 12 debuts on NBC. I know you watched some Adam 12, David.
Darn right I did.
Today in 1970, the A's no-hit the Twins with Vita Blue pitching. The New York Times starts the first modern op-ed page, but more importantly, Monday Night Football premieres on ABC television. The Browns defeat the Jets 31-21.
In Cleveland. Namath throws a late pick six, trying to lead them to the come-from-behind win.
In 81, Steve Carlton would strike out the NL record 3,118th time. Andre Dawson was the one that he struck out. 82, the NFL players begin their 57-day strike. 85, Michael Spinks beats Larry Holmes in 15 to become the heavyweight boxing champion of the world.
Holmes was 48-0. He was trying to tie Marciano's record. Spinks did beat him too. Larry did not take it well, said a bunch of things that would haunt him afterwards, but Holmes won the rematch and they did not give him the decision.
Do you think it's because of the things he said after the fight?
It may have played a role.
I have this one on 86. Sometimes I put some little scoring things on there, and I don't know if because I'm guessing that Moulton has a story here. The Jets beat the Dolphins 51-45 in overtime, a record 884 passing yards.
Ken O'Brien outdueled Danny Marino.
See? That's why I left it on there. I didn't even warn him. I didn't even tell him. A couple of these I go through with David to make sure I've got my facts straight.
I think the game winner was O'Brien and Wesley Walker.
Goodness gracious. 2004, Green Day released the American Idiot album. 2008, the final home game was played at Yankee Stadium against the Orioles. And the U.S. crush Europe 16.5, 11.5 at Valhalla in the Ryder Cup. Those born today that are no longer with us, H.G. Wells, Chuck Jones, animator who did all of the Warner Brothers work, Larry Hagman, and Leonard Cohen. Those that are celebrating birthdays today, Stephen King is 75. Artist Gilmore is 74. Bill Murray is 72. Sidney Moncrief is 65. Rick Mahorn is 64. Cecil Fielder, 59. Singer Faith Hill is 55. Ricky Lake, 54. John Kitna and Liam Gallagher. Kitna, the quarterback. Gallagher from the band Oasis are both 50. Nicole Richie is 41.
Faith Hill is 55? Wow.
Yeah. The answer was yes before, it's yes now. And that's today was the day when. Did I miss anything?
Two things. Today was the day that Benedict Arnold committed treason and why people are now referred to as a Benedict Arnold. Back in 1780. And George Clooney made his TV debut today in 1985. He played a handyman on The Facts of Life.
I have two. No bubble. Just no sports, actually. Today in 1964, the North American XB-70, the first supersonic bomber, made its first flight.
I like it.
And do you remember 21st night, September?
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yep. September 21st. That's today.
We really have to watch him sing it on this show.
I will say he's not a good singer. That's maybe, and that was, but and that's probably the best singing though he's ever done on the.
No, really.
No.
Really. We want to keep the idea of this program, just so you're aware, is to keep people listening. You're only encouraging him by laughing.
All right. I'm laughing at this. He's the person who somehow thinks we're joking when we are telling him, no, you're not good at this. Come on, you're just saying that. You're busting my chops. No, actually, no.
I have a buddy who had a great line. He says, no, I got a great voice. Anytime something tells me different, I just turn the radio up a little bit louder. Felipe, when you sing, make sure everything's turned up really loud in the car.
I mean, Felipe, you know how fond of you we are. You are not a good singer. And in fact, you're not even an average one. All right. Just keep that in mind there, buddy.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I got a 2 for good. I had one, and then there's another good. The first is, and because I helped out in Lee County with the sea turtle nesting, finding them years back when I was doing afternoons, kind of take this to heart, but this is the largest number of turtle nests that we've ever found in Collier County. 55 short of 2,000 nests, breaking all previous county records. That's a good thing.
All right.
And the other good is that the $1.3 billion Mega Millions, they finally showed up and picked up their cash.
Oh, thank goodness. When did they win this thing?
8 weeks ago. It will be split between 2 people who agreed to share the prize. If they're known, the winners remain anonymous.
Good.
And the Illinois Lottery is unable to share any information about the winners except that they must absolutely be over the moon with their Mega Millions win. I actually think that should be the law in every state. I don't think you should be able to give out lottery winners. They want to remain anonymous. I think they should be allowed to remain anonymous.
I agree. Here's what I'm curious about, though. It's one thing they keep yahoos like us from knowing who they are. That's fine. Do they make sure that companies don't know? Like, how much mail are they now getting? Emails? Like, and I'm being serious here. Does that information get out so that so many people can solicit their...
I would think I would hope anonymous is anonymous.
I would hope so, too.
At least until they file taxes next year.
That's true.
For the bad, we go to Pasco County, where a 12-year-old Pasco County student was arrested after he sprayed a fire extinguisher inside a school bus. The student opened the back door of a moving school bus, which triggered an alarm to sound. When the bus driver pulled over to address the alarm, the student grabbed a fire extinguisher on board the bus and began to spray it. He continued to spray it when the woman was scolding him by going to the hood of the BART bus and spraying it at the woman who was scolding him. There's part of that I think's hilariously funny and also really disturbing at the same time. Speaking of disturbing, for the ugly, we go where else? Cape Coral.
Oh, always.
Where a Cape Coral man was arrested for allegedly charging after his neighbor with a machete after the two feuded over dog poop in the other person's yard. Police arrested Eduardo Aguila on Saturday. His neighbor, Revington Chase, said the dispute began when he reached his tipping point on finding fresh dog poo on his yard on a daily basis. I got dog crap on my lawn, Chase said. I'm picking it up, picking it up, picking it up. He thought it was coming from the neighbor's dog, so he walked over with the dog poo and threw it on the ground. So that's when Eduardo said he brought a mushy pile of poo and threw it right there on my steps, right in front of me, very aggressively. He did the only thing that came to mind. I grabbed a machete and came outside. What was I supposed to do? You tell me. I don't know. That's Tom Brady right there.
What is it with people and machetes lately?
I don't know.
Man.
What were you supposed to not grab the machete? That's the first mistake you made. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September 21st, 2022.
Felipe, I want you to know that I'm now in a texting argument with my mother about you. Okay. She wants us to back off you and your singing. And I said, Mom, he can't sing. And she goes, I know he can't sing. Just leave him alone. So even my mom admits she can't sing, but she's got your back. There are two baseball games this afternoon. They're kind of important in the National League East, considering the 12:20 game is the Nats and the Braves, and the 2:10 game is the Mets and the Brewers. The Braves are minus 267. Shouldn't they be more? Because the Braves have won 10 straight at home, and Mark, they're facing a pitcher who has yet to win a game this year for the Nats. Paulo Espina is 0-7. I mean, why are they minus 267? Shouldn't they be like minus 467? Anyway, I digress. So that's the 2 afternoon games. So Yankees Pirates tonight is on ESPN Plus. For those of you, if you may be interested and you want to watch it, I'll say this: tomorrow night, Yankees Red Sox is on Fox. So going up against Thursday Night Football will be Yankees Red Sox on Fox. Be very curious if Judge can get one tonight and be at 61 heading into that game. Will people have any interest in watching?
At Fenway or Yankee Stadium?
No, it's a Yankees. They're home all week. So, and there you have it. Marlins home for the Cubs, Rays home for the Astros. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Phil.